I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right. Um, I'm apologize, y'all. Um, things have popped up. So let me try to send. Um, let me try to send the email. Um, things has happened, and I couldn't get get it right. But some unseen events had occurred. So forgive me for being tardy on my end. It's life. So I'm going to um, see if the two I tagged them earlier, and I will change the title once we get this set. And you know what? I think if it happens again, uh, if it happens again, I'll just go ahead and edit the debate out of it. Should it happens today, I'm waiting for the two men um, uh, should they choose to debate. Um, you see that they ever made contact with me because I didn't give them a Discord or on my email, and I did make a community post earlier today, this morning. Um, See if they would. Let me see. Have not received anything yet. I just did. Um, I just received it, and Sarge, you want me to? You want me to discuss George Floyd, the Aurora, Colorado shooting of the stubble field, and the conundrum of Inska Yeah. Uh, I don't think there's going to be a debate on that third one, and because of the topic, Sarge, I'm trying to avoid that topic, even though it is a wordy topic. But because of YouTube, how YouTube is in the current climate, I don't think that will be a safe argument. Now, the fourth one, woke point two, Democrat and the DSA political messaging, we can do that. But the third one, um, I'm gonna avoid that one like a plague at this point. Oh, hold on, y'all two ready? Okay. Well, let me go ahead and drop the link then. I'll drop the link for y'all. Should have better presentation than I'm doing now. But hold on, let me drop the link. Put that in the chat. I'll do the rest of it after this is over with. So gentlemen, if y'all want to come in, the link is in the chat room. If y'all see it. If not, hold on. If not, hold on. I'll do this. I'll do one better. I'm gonna give y'all the link on my community tab. All right, check y'all's community tab, and I tag y'all. Too though. So go out. Y'all should be tagged. So go ahead and check the community tab. Got man of tomorrow, and I'm waiting for Sarge to hit the link. Hold on. You know what? Let me email Sarge. Sarge. Let me just email him the link then, since he. He may not understand what I'm talking about, but let me just email him the link. Hey Sarge, I'm gonna email you. Check your email. What's going on, man? Tomorrow. Let's see, we got.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Oh, Sarge, check your email. I seen the link on my email. Just check your email. Hit that link I sent you. It bring you up here. Oh no, not much, man. MOT. Sarge, hold on. Let me put this up real quick. Uh, is your camera on? Sarge, hello.
Yeah,
Sarge.
my microphone is.
Okay. is your camera on or not? Because I see a black screen. I don't want to make sure because privacy reasons. I don't want
Well, it
you
is
know.
on, but I don't know why it's not working.
Like, you don't have to be on camera. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it's on. My camera is on.
Oh, okay.
That's not broadcasting.
Yeah, you already up though. I just want to make sure because of privacy reasons. I don't want if you don't want to be on camera.
Oh, well, I'd be
Okay,
on
okay.
camera.
Well,
But I don't know. It must be something wrong with my camera, but it's on. Green light is on. So
no, no, no. Well, it's just black. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all I was asking.
okay,
Okay.
I'll
Anyway, let's
check
go
the
ahead and
settings. I'll check the settings
start
while you.
start start this off then.
Yeah, I'll check the settings while you talking about it. Something else.
No, you don't have. No, no, like it's good. It's good. It's good. We here. It's good. So the first topic is what was the first topic? Oh my god, I put that down
George
already.
Floyd.
Um,
The incident of George Floyd itself, the consequences involving there too, and the aftermath.
turn off YouTube large tab. I guess. Anyway. Um. Oh, well, let's begin there then. It's gonna be you know, I
Yeah, well,
want
something's on because I'm hearing double speak from somebody.
What is my fan? Does it go off?
is it off?
It might have been my fan. I had a fan running. Desk fan.
Okay. It must yeah. It must be your fan. So
Okay.
okay
It's off.
okay well okay so who wants to start? Hold on. I'll flip a coin. Fuck it. I'll flip a coin. Heads MOT, tails Sarge. Let's see. Heads MOT. You want to start on your about George Floyd and the issue that you have raised. Oh, this is embarrassing. I'm waiting for him to come back up. Yeah, I'll wait for him to come back up. So, in fact, let me just do this right here. Well, Sarge, since he bounced, let's see hear your opening statements then.
Well, to put it mildly, the summer of love of 2020 was a hallmark, literally, in American sociological cultural history. It literally was. You can literally look at the landscape of the United States prior to 2020 and the summer of love, and particularly the incident involving George Floyd and what has happened thereafter. And it's like literally almost like night and day. Everything changed in that relative short period. And what is most tragic about all of it is that mostly every single thing that was used to justify the events that occurred, almost every single thing was based on distortions and lies about the facts of the incident. And I mean, almost without exception. That would include the type of training the Minneapolis Police Department got, because I went, when this whole incident started, and went right to their use of force page in their city, and I saw there the maximal restraint technique before they took it down. It was one of the first things I did, was go right to their city hall. They had it there for the public to see, and you can see the various types of training the police have, and one of them was one they call the maximal restraint technique. They literally ran away from it at trial. The police chief literally lied, purging himself about what his officers were taught. You could see the evidence of where he had placed his foot on George Floyd's body in concurrent time stamping with the officers that were there. Timestamp images of the body cams that synchronized with each other, and you could clearly see he didn't have his knee on his neck. At the same time, people were taking pictures, like when you see in a Hollywood a stunt picture, somebody throws a punch and it looks like they've connected solidly with the guy's jaw. It's all a matter of perspective. But that wasn't the only thing. The autopsy reports, the misconduct, and I think governmental malfeasance of the mayor of Minnesota, Jacob Fry, Keith Ellison's role in all of this as the attorney general, the press's abysmal reactions to it, the threats, intimidation, and extortions they lodged against people who tried to tell people the facts of the matter. The whole thing was an utter, absolute, complete, total disgrace and one of the worst incidents in the history of the United States when it comes to lynch mob justice. So I'm not going to go into great detail about these particulars right now, but I think I will be able to develop it as the show goes on with documentation and corroborable fact. And I think we need to know the facts of it. You still free to help to have your opinions that you think Officer Derek Chauvin and the rest of his police crew was bad, incorrect, malfeasant, deserved punishment, deserved firings, maybe even a prosecution. But if you do believe it, you ought to believe it based on the actual facts
Okay.
and not just the lynch mob demagoguery. That's
All
all I
right.
can say for right now.
Okay, man of tomorrow. What's your introductory statement?
The George Floyd situation is very easy to understand, but the public does not understand that the actual medical examiner is a generalist. He is not a specific person to be trusted in the actual how somebody died. You need an actual specific person to do that because the actual defense, when they brought their actual person to justify what was happening there, in the actual case, when that person went back to his specific job, everything that he did was under scrutiny based on the things that he tried to justify in the George Floyd killing. Like the George Floyd killing, um, every person who disagree with the outcome of the George Floyd situation, they do one or two things. They proclaim that the knee wasn't on the neck of George Floyd, which we do see a very specific camera angle that actually shows that. The second thing that they try to do is they try to deny that 9 minutes and 30 seconds of the knee actually being on the neck as the reason why this didn't happen. So what they do is they go to the actual medical reports and the autopsy. And they talk about, oh, there was drugs in the system, but yeah, but those drugs in the system has nothing to do with the 9 minutes and 15 seconds of a knee on the neck. That's how the person died. Now, you also had somebody who actually narrated the death of George Floyd, the pulmonologist. The defense did not have a pulmonologist. There was no objections to the pulmonologist and how he narrated those 9 minutes and 15 seconds. He told you what was going on inside of the body of George Floyd, of him passing out and how the body reacts with the actual lessening the likelihood of oxygen to certain places in the body. And there was no objections for that. So the pulmonologist's testimony supersedes the autopsy report. And once you have an actual direct expert testify to the actual way he actually died, you can't go back and start citing things in the actual report. And if you do, you got to go to jail for it. Like me and Mr. Fantastic went through this. After the entire trial was over with, he claimed that he watched the entire trial and he did the same thing that Sarge is doing. Oh, there was drugs in the system and all this kind of other stuff. Look, if somebody dies under police care and you don't arrest that person right away, your whole city should be on fire. And it better be on fire because the police should be locked up in all cases whenever they do something wrong. That was criminal. Not only did George Floyd go to jail, the other people who was on the scene also went to jail, right along with them, the way it's supposed to be. I am military trained. I don't give a damn about these local yokels and their ability to escalate things to violence and unconstitutional actions. So if I'm a little trigger happy on locking these people up, it is the only way to guarantee the power of the public trust that we put in people be used for its proper way. That's how you keep Navy SEALs in line. That's how you keep Air Force pararescue and combat controllers in line. You make sure you come down on these experts who are at work with a ton of bricks whenever they use their actual stuff illegally. The reason why everything came together that it was supposed to be is because that's the way it should have happened in all cases. But you can't compel the police to actually testify, which I think is wrong. Because at the end of the day, it's either the training was used properly or improperly. In this case right here, the actual police chief came up, the trainer came up, the homicide detective came up, all from the same department that actual Derek Chauvin was a part of, right? And testified for the state that this was an improper act and it should not have happened. And we still don't even know whether or not the actual dollar bill that he actually gave the counter person was even fake. We still don't know that. I can guarantee you that it wasn't fake, because if it was, they would have thrown that out before everything else. So there's no real reason to even discuss the George Floyd situation except for someone's purposeful and criminal neglect of what the facts are on the ground to talk about other things. But that is exactly what happened in the Derek Chauvin situation. And there is no way that you can be able to refute it. I'm not going to go over the video. You should have watched it. I'm not going to go over the pulmonologist testimony. You should have watched that too. There's really nothing to talk about on this issue. You're just flat out and plainly wrong. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right,
Hello?
all right. So now, okay. So now it's your rebuttal. Have you heard what Man of Tomorrow said? Sarge, you heard what? So what is your rebuttal to MOT's argument?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to take what he said point by point. He said the medical, I don't know what that means in terms of findings of death inquiries, but every summer
Well, he's
is
going in and
approved
out.
by the state.
Is that me? Do you hear that, Big J? He's going in and out.
Yeah, yeah. It says his device is not connected. He
Okay.
needs rejoin. You know what? Let me kick him off so he can come back. Sarge,
I had to
come back.
rejoin too. Yeah. I had to rejoin too because mine was like double talking and stuff, and I had to rejoin too. It wasn't
Uh,
even on your end; it was on my end apparently.
but I think his screen yard's messing up. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
they get on.
sometimes I be on StreamYard and it make my 5G go in and out. It's not doing that now, but it does do it when I get around like small towns and stuff.
Hmm.
So it could be that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's Sarge, go to your email and hit that link again. Okay, he says the okay back. It says device is not connected. Okay, he's back. Okay, he's back. All right.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what the problem is. This damn microphone. Uh, I noticed that a man of tomorrow said that the medical examiner being a general, I guess, is dispositive or not dispositive for him being able to render conclusions after examining a body in forensic techniques. Every single medic I know of who submits information in a death inquest is considered to be qualified to make findings that are contributory to the cause of death. I've never heard them being questioned simply because they might not be specific expert in a particular field.
He's still going in and out, bro.
It's that screen yard messing up. I don't know what to do now. MOT, the screen yard is fucking up, man.
Yeah.
Because even he's saying it. Even he's saying it's messing up. I noticed it this morning. So I don't know what the hell going on, man. Okay, let
Yeah.
me bring him
All
back
right.
up.
Am I still breaking up now? Or is this better?
Okay, okay. Are you on your mic or are you?
Yeah, I'm on the mic,
Okay.
and I can see now that it's showing that it's live.
And I still see you haven't fed that cat yet. That's why it's screaming at you, bro.
That, that cat, that cat is the most well-fed cat in the United States, probably. I think he just
Well,
wants.
pick him up.
You probably need to be cuddled and you know and stroked
Hey,
every
come
now
here,
and then.
Nero. Come
Scratch
here,
behind his
Nero.
ears or
Come on,
something. I don't know.
Nero. Come on.
All
Good God, you've been gone the whole day, and now you want to
right.
come back and
So
get around.
so
Anyway, let me shut the door.
so
Maybe he won't be so damn noisy. I think he might be a secret. I think he might be
so
a
A
secret
secret
George
agent.
Floyd acolyte. He's probably a secret George Floyd acolyte. I'm gonna have to kick him out and put him in a shelter. Oh, you shut up now, didn't you? Ha ha. Anyway, but look, you got to remember, the Hennepin County medical examiner was not the only one to do an autopsy. There was another one done by the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, the United States Armed Forces. It was sent to the federal government. And let me read to you the conclusion of the autopsy performed not only by the Hennepin County medical examiner, but by the Defense Health Agency Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. And this is what they said. Conclusion, opinion. The Office of the Armed Forces Medical Examiner agrees with the autopsy findings, and the cause of death certification of George Floyd is determined by the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. His death was caused by the police subdual and restraint. Now, this is critical, and listen to what follows.
Yeah.
Listen to what follows, because this is critical. It's not just a 1-point test. It's a 3-point test. In the setting of severe hypertensive arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease and methamphetamine and fentanyl intoxication, the subdual and restraint had elements of positional and mechanical asphyxiation. The presence of sickle cell trait is a significant finding in this context. So the cause of death, and I've never said this wasn't part of the cause of death, that it didn't contribute to the cause of death. Yes, his violent and his vigorous opposition to the police arresting him, putting him in handcuffs, was part of it. But he would not have died, surely, without the other complications clearly indicated in 3 autopsies. Michael Biden's autopsy, when the family hired him to do the autopsy, the Armed Forces Pathological Institute, and the Hennepin County Medical Examiner. All of them said that it was a series of events that led to his death, not just one, not just Derek Chauvin with his knee on his neck in the manner that he was taught in the police academy by the Minneapolis police, which they tried to disavow. They lied about that. They lied about that. They lied about that. Now, I will give you one point that I think I might be able to agree with you to some extent about. I think it was probably administered for too long. But if that's the case, and that is the cause, you don't charge him with murder. And that's what they charged him with. So I'm saying we got here. And I know, look, this was all political. They literally yielded to the lynch mob. Man of Tomorrow hinted at it when he said, the city deserves to burn if the public perceives an injustice in a police finding with certainly controversial evidence. And if a portion of the mob doesn't agree with it, you are entitled to destroy the city. Think of what that portends if that is the way we're going to see justice administered. Really? I don't think that's the way we need to talk. I don't think that's the way the authorities need. Now, any government that would yield to that sort of extortion or threat does not deserve to be a government. I don't care whose government it is. I don't care where in the world it's positioned. It doesn't deserve to be a government. It needs to be just a go with the wind, put your finger in the wind, see which way the wind is blowing, and yield to whoever threatens you the most. Now, there were many other things, too, with regard to the autopsy and the findings of the autopsy. And what I really found disgraceful was when I saw the deputy chief of the Minneapolis Police Department, a woman. I can't think of her name right now. I can get it in a minute. But the chief in particular, Chief Arredondo, who said that the way Derek Chauvin applied the maximum strength technique was not the way it was taught in the academy. And then his mother had to come to them, his mother had to get Officer Chauvin's manual, bring it to them, and show them the manner in which they instructed it, and he was certified in. He received a certification in applying the maximum restraint technique. That's what they caused it. The deputy chief is on video using it herself doing a demonstration on a woman. She said she never used it. She literally perjured herself. Nothing happened to her. The chief perjured himself. Nothing happened to him either. The fix was in on this one. They needed a scapegoat. They needed somebody to throw to the howling mob, and those 4 cops fit the bill.
Your turn, MOT.
Yeah, I'm glad that he admitted twice during his last statement that the actual hold was administered way too long. 9 minutes and something seconds leading to death would be considered way too long. That actual second autopsy that he actually referenced, yes, those other things was going on within his body. But the thing that actually pushed him over the edge to death was the restraint technique and how long it was. There's nothing to discuss here. What led to his death is the restraint technique and how long it was. That's no different than it shouldn't have been happening at all. Okay? Because he said that his foot wasn't on the neck. Now we have an autopsy report person telling you that it is a causal factor in the other factors that is going on. Now, having drugs in his system, he wasn't dead, was he? Fentanyl or whatever was in his system, he wasn't dead, wasn't he? But when you add this third element called the restraint technique that didn't need to happen for the time period that it did happen with all these other things, that's how you get the outcome that is going on here. Again, the facts of the case are very clear. It's either George Floyd is alive or he is dead. And why he's alive and why he's dead. We can't sync up the body cam footage of all that stuff because they didn't use the body cam footage. They used an adjacent camera that was focused directly in on what Mr. Chauvin was doing for those 9 minutes and something seconds. Once you started talking about camera angles and all this kind of other stuff, no, we saw a pretty good camera angle, pretty clear about what was going on for that 9 minutes and 13 seconds. At the end of the day, those people did not come to testify in court. You want to know why? There was a pulmonologist, an actual person that really outranks those actual reports that tell you exactly how the death occurred. So you cannot go back to those obsolete reports where you have people who come to court to testify to exactly how he died. And they did not bring those medical examiners in there to even refute what the pulmonologist was saying. That's how powerful the testimony was from the pulmonologist. That's what swayed all of the jurors in the after actions report when they interviewed these people. Well, most of them that was on camera, that was. They said the pulmonologist sealed the case for him. And that is the person that outranks all of those reports, the person that tells him exactly how it died, a person who narrated the death of it. There was no narration of death for the 9 minutes and 13 seconds of no autopsy report, but there was of the actual pulmonologist that actually did so. There was no objections by the actual defense. They could have brought up all types of witnesses to refute the pulmonologist's report. None of that happened. At the end of the day, this dude is dead because of Derek Chauvin's action. Who knows? He probably could have died next week or the week after next or the week after next, thanks to the stuff that's in his body. But at the end of the day, you can't say the fact that drugs was in his body was the fact of how he died. No, that's not the case. This person's dead because of Derek Chauvin's actions. Derek Chauvin went to prison, and those 3 other personnel who was also on site who didn't do a damn thing, as most cops do. The actual stop takes on the actual life of the biggest asshole on scene and everybody pretend like nothing happening. I'm glad that they all went to prison in this case. And every single time that police stand around and nothing happens, they should always be taken to prison. And yes, like I said before, law enforcement is something that's very basic that you could be able to do. We had no problems doing it in the actual military. We don't actually cavort with or even rationalize the things that most people do outside the military, because at the end of the day, we want the things that's happening to us to happen to everybody else. And in this case, that restraint technique for that long was too long. It resulted in criminal negligence, which is what he went to jail for. Doesn't matter whether it's murder, doesn't matter whether it's manslaughter. The fact is that person died because of these actions. And those other professionals sat around and didn't help at all try to stop illegal activity. That's why their asses is in jail.
I really find it quite remarkable to think that we're involved in the judicial proceedings and the manner of the charging doesn't matter. We're talking about what a cause of death is and who is responsible for causing someone's death. But I digress. Let me go on to say about another finding of the autopsy report that I didn't cover particularly in detail, but I'd like to now. The report showed that he had several drug compounds in his system. These included caffeine and cotinine. I know you say he drank some coffee. Remember, we're talking about a whole bunch of drugs combined. You know, like they tell you, you don't use downers when you're taking alcohol and you don't combine even just two substances. When with this guy, we're talking about a veritable morass of different types of drugs circulating through his adrenalized system at one time while under stressful conditions. And here are those compounds: caffeine, cotinine, THC, methamphetamine, norfentanyl, fentanyl, and morphine. Now, the autopsy indicated how fentanyl can cause breathing problems and death. This is what it said. Signs associated with fentanyl toxicity include severe respiratory depression, seizures, hypertension, coma, and death. Remember, we're talking about hypertension in a normal, healthy vascular system. This guy had one of the most corrupted, near death vascular systems in the United States. If you look at the autopsy report, in fatalities from fentanyl, I'm going off in the report. In fatalities from fentanyl, blood concentrations are variable and may have been reported as low as 3 nanograms per milliliter. Now, the autopsy report showed that George Floyd had 11 nanograms per milliliter of blood of fentanyl in his system. That is almost 3 times more than 3 nanograms per milliliter, an amount which is often considered to be fatal. He's 300% higher than that, with a horribly compromised cardiovascular system. And remember, he swallowed, he hooped. He told the officer, remember what he told the first officer who took him out of his car? He said he'd been hooping. Hooping is slang for swallowing drugs. He hooped drugs. You could see him swallowing when he had his mouth open. When he came up to the office, he was swallowing the drugs they had in the system so he wouldn't get busted with them. So he's also taking some drugs that he just got from his dealer who didn't testify. Why didn't his dealer testify at the trial? Because he might incriminate himself in drug dealing. That's why he invoked the Fifth Amendment, because George Floyd had just gotten dope from him. And when the officer came up there to arrest him, he swallowed that dope, further contributing to his hysteria. Remember, he was hysterical when the officer approached him. He was already pumping. Remember, he's got a hugely compromised cardiovascular system. He's already pumping. He's already adrenalizing himself. Man, I'm not that kind of guy. I ain't doing that. I'm not that kind of guy. Please, officer, please don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. By the way, cops never shot him. In fact, this incident was almost identical to an arrest in 2019 where he swallowed drugs when he was busted by another Minnesota police officer. They played the video. We saw the video of that arrest the officer made on prior in 2019 where he swallowed drugs. They had to call an ambulance for him and take him to the hospital and pump his gut out. Now, one of the reasons he died was because even though it was only like 6 blocks away from the fire station, they gave the fire crew the wrong address to go to. That's why it took so long for it to get there. The dispatcher gave them the wrong address. Remember, the cops summoned medical aid for this guy, and they were waiting for it to get there. And it shouldn't have been that long. It should have been maybe 6, 7 minutes. It took over 28 minutes for it to get there because of the incorrect address given by the dispatcher. You see, there are a host of reasons that man is dead. Most of them are self-induced. It is arguable that Chauvin's length of time on him was the deciding factor, but I'm not willing to exclude it. Unlike Man of Tomorrow, he just says, oh, it couldn't possibly be. Without that, he never would have died. I don't believe that either. I believe he probably would have died with or without it, but then, obviously we can't prove it either way. But it's not unreasonable to think it might have happened. But if you're going to say, we're going to use this to charge an officer of the law who is allowed to use force to effect arrest on a resisting suspect, and we're going to say that use of the force, which as in the end, all of the combined circumstances resulted in his death, and now we're going to charge him with murder because the lynch mob is howling. Oh, hell no. That's not the way you're supposed to do justice or run a city. And it's typical, it was Democrats doing all this because that's the way they roll. Democrats always do. They are always willing to throw somebody under the bus for their failures.
Okay, so
Martin, you got anything to
all right,
reflect?
so that last portion should be stricken from the record because didn't have nothing to do with the Derek Chauvin situation about how far he was away from the actual fire station. And the dude ain't got nothing to do with this case. So we have to limit our actual criticism and testimony just specifically toward the case so that way people can stay on topic and task here. Everything that you're doing is justify why that dude is dead. The reason why the dude is dead is because of the causal factor of him being in that hole for 9 minutes and 15 seconds. If he wasn't there for 9 minutes and 15 seconds, he would have had the opportunity to die in other means. But Derek Chauvin made sure that he didn't get to die by other means. Whether I think he didn't know, I didn't know. I've never heard of anybody knee on the neck, uh, people die. I've never heard of it. But if it's a causal factor and issue, then your ass got to go to jail. Period. At the end of the day, you should want these police officers to go to jail every time they do something wrong. And so many times in this country that we allowed um, people to come on TV and justify the death. I mean, it just seems to be down to Brandon Tatum, but you even had people on TV justifying the Rodney King beat. You had that. You had people from these police units who got on TV and justified that. All the people should have been in prison. Every single one of them. At the end of the day, I hold no quarter to these police bootlickers. I think that they should be locked up the quickest whenever they engage in these things. So we can't talk about freedom if the only thing that happens is we have to justify the death of somebody who should be alive. If he was allowed to live with all these things in the system, he probably would have died, who knows, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks later. No one knows. We're talking about the nanograms and the adagrams of what's in the system, but you can't get past that 9 minutes and 15 seconds. All that stuff plus the 9 minutes and 15 seconds is the reason why this dude's dead. You don't have the 9 minutes and 15 seconds, this dude would be alive. If you didn't have the person who called the police on George Floyd over a bill that was not fake or not, which they know whether the bill was fake. They take the money in for evidence. They know whether or not that bill is fake. They know. For certain they know. But they try to not concentrate on that because that's also a causal factor and it would have made the store responsible. And I was the family, I still would have sued the store because none of this stuff should have happened. At the end of the day, whenever there is a fake bill, because I had to deal with these things myself in the military, if you have a person who has a fake bill. What you do, you get the contact information from the person, you get the actual bill, you seal it up, you send it off to a lab or to an expert, it's checked out, you have this person's information, you get back with them, you tell them the results. None of this stuff required taking people out of their cars, putting knees on necks, or any of that stuff. This was an unneeded police escalation, like the knee on the neck. And there's no real reason for justifying why this dude's dead. He's dead because of somebody's specific and particular action. End of the conversation. At the end of the day, I don't believe in free speech when it comes to justifying police actions that shouldn't have happened, especially after the fact when you should have looked at all of the actual evidence and testimony. The reason why they didn't bring those actual autopsies in court or even try to talk about them, like I said, pulmonologist, direct expert, outranks a report written by medical examiners. A person who's going to narrate the entire scene and tell you exactly how somebody died outranks a report. Everybody in law enforcement knows that. Because if that wasn't the case, the defense would have clearly brought up those autopsies the moment that the pulmonologist narrated the entire death of George Floyd. That did not happen. And the reason why it didn't happen is because he's a direct expert. Who's going to actually go after the direct expert and bring up stuff that actually outranks them? Those people could have easily been called up there to testify. They wasn't up there. At the end of the day, we're trying to post hoc, trying to rationalize George Floyd's death. There is no real reason for that. At the end of the day, this dude is dead because of Derek Chauvin's actions. If the person at the grocery store did not call the police over a bill he wasn't true or false, whether the bill was fake or not, there would have been no police interaction. There would have been nothing wrong. There would be no knee on the neck. George, George Floyd would have been living at least past that situation. Derek Chauvin still would have been a cop. Multiple complaints against him. All the three other people who went to jail would still be out being a cop too. But Derek Chauvin is the reason why those people are locked up, him included.
So may I may ask both of y'all a question. Do you think that it was fair? Because you brought it up, MOT. Do you think Derek Chauvin's police record, the complaints, do you think that was fair to include that in the trial?
Well, I can tell you this much. Any evidence against a defendant in any criminal trial,
Mhm.
any evidence that is um, considered to be defamatory is never allowed to be admitted unless it shows a direct connection to what the person is being charged with. Say he had a criminal complaint, I don't know, maybe slapping somebody during an arrest. That would not be allowed to be entered in this particular case. If he had complaints about shoving someone too hard against the side of a squad car, they wouldn't allow that to be introduced. It had to be some sort of a conduct that would contribute and be dispositive toward findings in this particular case. You cannot introduce prejudicial information against a defendant in a criminal trial unless it directly contributes to proving the charges against the person, those particular individualized charges, and no others. They
Mhm.
shouldn't allow it. I've been in a bunch of trials. They never, ever, ever allow it. And that's frequently grounds for reversal of a verdict if they do, and to get a new
Okay.
trial and or even a verdict set aside. And I've been in
So
a bunch of trials over 23
so
years.
so let me ask Man of
No,
Tomorrow.
no.
Uh,
Yeah. So he is correct.
okay,
He
go
is
ahead.
correct. But that does not apply to the lay person who is a public servant. When you make a complaint against a public servant, that is a public record that will be read in court. So when he's talking about this, this the past behavior is directly germane to
No,
him being in this situation.
no,
Directly. It
no.
doesn't matter what the situation is. This is a use of force issue. Every use of force issue that was cited, that was complained about, is directly involved in what happened in this case. Because what it shows a pattern of conduct, whether it was punished or not. Now, for the layperson, they don't bring up their past criminal history and record in court. They want you to be actually focused on the XYZ thing, yeah. But for a public person who is sworn to protect the law, every single time they've stepped out of line, they bring that up in court. Now, most of the time, they do strike it from the record. They do put in motions to not even include that. It is up to the judge whether to actually allow it or not. I don't think that stuff not being there would have counted, would have mattered, because we have 9 minutes and 15 seconds. 9 minutes and 15 seconds of direct evidence, regardless of how many police medals he got, how many officers of the quarter of the year he got. None of that stuff would have mattered. We got 9 minutes and 15 seconds that actually is here to convict him. So I don't think it mattered whether or not they used it. I'm glad they did. They should always should. But in this case right here, there's nothing up for grabs here. This is not a circumstantial case. This case is based on what's on evidence, what's on tape, what you can zoom in on, what you can actually see. So in this specific case, I'm glad that they did. I want all this stuff to be against the police. I want to stack the deck against the police every single time that they ask us up there. I want this stuff to be like this. If you run somebody's ID and they ain't got no felony, your rate should go up for being a police officer because you just wasted somebody's time in a free society. I want the police sitting their ass at the station like the fire department sit their ass at the station. They're not allowed to just peruse neighborhoods looking for fires.
Well,
That's the way we were trained in the actual military. I do not care about these police officers on the outside. I think most of them are actually criminals. Just like in this case, there actually is criminal activity, and I'm glad they got it actually right this time. They get it mostly wrong, but in this case, they did get it right. And they did lock up every single person that they possibly could, which is also the greatest thing that they ever could have done here. They sent a very strong message. I am proud of Minnesota.
yeah. Well, again, I'm glad you mentioned the fact that Derek Chauvin's medals, accommodations will be utterly irrelevant to the conduct of the trial. And ironically enough, for your case or your proposition, had he done that, had his defense said what a sterling officer he was and how exemplary his conduct was, that would have allowed him to introduce in the trial his misconduct on previous occasions. You see, it would have worked that way. But no, you're wrong. Andrew versus White does not make an exception versus police officers. That's a Supreme Court decision. Andrew versus White. You cannot introduce unduly prejudicial evidence against a defendant unless it directly pertains to the case at issue for the court. You cannot do it with them either. The only way you can do it is in a circumstance I just said. If the defense opens the door to it being allowed to be admitted. They didn't do it in this case. So his prior misconduct was known to the public because, as you said, his record as a police officer is a matter of public record. But I'm talking about what you can introduce as evidence in the trial. Is the judge going to allow the jury to see it in the case in the courtroom? No, and the judge didn't because it would have been unduly prejudicial to the case. Now that's why they in voir dire, they ask jurors all these questions about whether or not they can be unbiased in a trial, whether or not they can render a decision objectively based on the evidence introduced at trial. So, no, what you said isn't true. There is no exception for police officers, not when you introduce it in court, unless the defense opens the door to it. And they didn't. So, again, I'm just saying here, this trial was a travesty of justice. You got Keith Ellison up there posing publicly and approvingly and speaking approvingly of the Antifa operations manual and taking a picture with it.
What?
You want me to put it? Want me to post it so you can see it? Yeah, Keith
No,
Ellison,
no, no,
Attorney
no,
General.
sir. This has nothing to do with
No,
Derek
what
Chauvin being innocent or
had
guilty. By
nothing
the
to
way,
do with it. I'm going to introduce some little nothing to do with it too. You know, that police officers ought to be, if they run a name check and there ain't nothing to it, they ought to be fined, or they ought to be fired, or they ought to be put in jail. That had nothing to do with what we're talking about now, does it? So let me introduce something maybe a little bit more pertinent. A prejudicial attitude against a defendant in a criminal trial by a high-ranking government official in Minnesota, I think is infinitely more pertinent. So what we saw all through this trial was that sort of thing, including from the governor's office, and to help poison the pool against the officers in that trial, particularly Derek Chauvin. Now I'm not saying he wasn't even worthy of being fired. Maybe a criminal charge of a lesser offense than murder or even manslaughter, but you can't criminally prosecute a cop even for violating police regulation unless those regulations are part of the criminal law. Police regulations are not law. You prosecute people for criminal offenses passed by the state legislature as criminal offenses. If you want to cite what he violated police regulation, those are grounds for his disciplinary action against him and maybe his dismissal. But certainly not for a criminal charge. Again, unless it is codified in law. And I don't believe, based upon everything I saw and was testified to in the case, I don't even believe he broke police regulation. Again, the amount of time he had his foot on the back of that
what
gentleman,
the fuck?
on that gentleman's back is arguable as to whether caused his death. He didn't die on the scene. He died in the hospital under medical care. That he didn't die on the scene. If he had all his oxygen cut off, and then he died as a result of not being able to breathe at all, and he had brain death, which he didn't have. He didn't have brain death on the scene. He wasn't dead. He was still breathing on his own. He died in the hospital. He died from accumulation of a lifetime of drug abuse and swallowing drugs on the scene, the adrenalized hypertension induced by the resistance to the arrest. All of those factors combined made him dead. Not Derek Chauvin's knee on his back. On his back was where it was, by the way. It wasn't on his neck. So
What?
I'm going to say, look, I stand by this thing being a travesty of justice, incorrect application of charges, perjuring by the command staff of the Minnesota Police Department, the prejudicial interference of the governor of Minnesota and the attorney general of Minnesota, the lying of the media about the case, about the facts of the case, the general acceptance of a sense of lawlessness, lawmakers going in there and threatening white people in their neighborhoods. This guy named Howard went in there and gave with bullhorn, and a bunch of people showed up dressed in black, carrying all, having masks on. COVID was excused, but they were all masked. They were all rowdy. They were all threatening. And I ought to read to you what he said in there. This era of intimidation was everywhere in Minneapolis and throughout Minnesota. The threats of violence, the threats that you vaguely implied to about, the need for burning the city down when you don't get verdicts that you want. So all of it contributed to an unjust. No, this was a miscarriage of justice. Do I like what Chauvin did?
What?
No, I don't even like Chauvin. I don't
You
care. I don't like
man?
seeing
Okay.
justice miscarried. This was an absolute, utter miscarriage of justice in every sense.
Okay. Well, I have a question, and this would sum up a
Okay.
lot of things here because I have a question. If it is a miscarriage of justice, and I just want a straight answer, what do you think the punishment should have been? That's my direct question. If this is a miscarriage of justice, what do you think the punishment for Derek Chauvin should have been?
I'll admit, I haven't given that a lot of thought. I've given it some thought. If you're going to prefer any criminal charges against him, I would have charged him with aggravated battery at the most. I would not have charged him with murder or even voluntary manslaughter. He didn't intend to kill that guy. Involuntary manslaughter, perhaps. Voluntary manslaughter or murder, never.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you. In this case, the charges were right. They flew in defense experts from across the country. It wasn't just the ones in this department. I think they probably, I think they probably had like the LAPD even send people out there. A department that's known for putting hands on people.
I saw that guy. I
And
saw his testimony too.
yeah, so what I'm saying here is that the system worked in just this case for him. But this should be the standard of how the case would work in every other standard. Like me, I'm military trained. I just never got used to the idea of even local police getting away with stuff because in the military, the prosecutor's office, the the judiciary, and the person are like different departments. But in the civilianized world or things outside of the federal government, they're all one department. So it was very weird to see everybody kind of come together and get this guy locked up. I have to be honest with you. I was not prepared for that universal condemnation from the law enforcement community.
It
But
was
there was only one group of people who wanted to actually let this dude off, and those dudes were called conservatives. Those were the people who was like just citing the actual report when it came to the drug use and all that kind of other stuff. And you have to understand, man, dude, at the end of the day, you're giving public trust. Y'all to know you take your ass out there and know how to act. And if you don't, you got to get locked up, man. That's all it is. It's not hard. For me, it's not hard. It is the life that I lived. I lived under the uniform code of military justice, where I did see people who overstepped their boundaries even a little bit, get their ass locked up in the same cell as the person that was in holding. You mess around and stomp somebody out when you ain't supposed to. Hey, man, look, I ain't about to go to jail over this. You did this. I'm writing this report. You taking your ass to jail. Oh man, you know, no, we supposed to be like, nah, man. You ain't about to get me locked up. No, sir. And at the end of the day, once I seen how these private police departments actually acted, it really soured me on the law enforcement thing. That's why I just stuck to the fugitive recovery thing for a while. And then once I graduated from school, I went on to IT. But specifically for this case, Derek Chauvin should be in prison. Anybody who defending Derek Chauvin should be locked up just like Derek Chauvin is for their opinion. There
I
is
want
no
to
opinion here. All right, go ahead.
I want to ask Sarge a question though,
shoot.
because
I'm happy to
uh,
answer any question, any legitimate
because
question.
because you always want to you always go by the police report, right? And that's you form your opinion, the basis of your argument based on the
Well,
police report.
no, I want to correct that before you go any further, so we get it straight. It's
Okay.
something I take into consideration. It's not, unless it's the only evidence you have to go by. It's simply one more factor in making consideration and a final conclusion about any incident. It's not the only thing.
Okay. So the reason why I asked is because I was going to ask you, can police reports be wrong?
Of course they can. There are many cases where police have been in error. But I didn't even cite a police report tonight. In this case, I was citing three medical examiners' reports by three well-considered sources. I mean,
Uh,
Hennepin County Medical Exam is considered to be reasonably competent. The Armed Forces Pathology Institute is considered one of the best in the world. Dr. Michael Bodden is one of the foremost pathologists in the world as well. So when you cite all three of them together, you get a pretty good idea of what the cause of death of a person is, particularly when they weigh in with an opinion on it.
right.
I
Right.
didn't even mention a police report.
Right.
So I have a
Okay.
question for you. How come the defense didn't stress those actual autopsy reports after the pulmonologist actually narrated
Um,
George Floyd's death? I mean, if it was such
they did.
damning evidence and testimony, don't you think the defense would have actually been able to cite that?
They did. See, I think what you're missing is because I've got the entire trial transcript. I don't have it with me now. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it where I kept it. But the autopsy reports were not even considered controversial by either the defense or the prosecution. They were introduced in the court. They were brought up. They were read. They were briefly questioned about it by the officials that came from it. And there was no particular controversy. They were simply introduced in the evidence.
There's a reason why.
And by the way, so there wasn't any great controversy from either defense or the prosecution about the
There's a reason why.
Wait a minute. One thing I want to say before you say what you say, when you kept stressing this, I noticed, and I should have mentioned something about it earlier. You said the pulmonologist is the highest ranking official to decide the truth. No, it isn't. He is another witness testifying as to his expertise. He is not automatically accorded a hierarchy of knowledge over anyone else in a trial. Now, yes, you can certainly look at a person's credentials when they're sworn under oath and they introduce their curriculum vitae and they tell everybody what they've done. And of course, the jurors are going to themselves assign a ranking to it because that's what human beings do. We discriminate and we rank things. That's what we do. But there is no presumption that a pulmonologist's testimony trumps every other medical authority or the hearsay, which, by the way, a autopsy report is hearsay if the person there who made it out is not testifying, but it's the exception to the hearsay rule because it's an official document. So that person is not to be considered better suited to tell the truth of the events here than anyone else simply because of his or her expertise. That's not true.
Okay. So throughout this torrential pour of Gish Gallop aside, that is exactly what happened here. The pulmonologist is the reason why, and they both know who's testifying.
Wait, did you
The
poll?
defense and the prosecution. Wait. Hold on. Allow me to finish my statement. Then you can refute it. The reason why it wasn't focused on is because the defense and the prosecution knew that there was going to be a pulmonologist there narrating the death. There was not going to be any one of those people with an autopsy report narrating the death. There was going to be a person who went through minute by minute and told you what was going on inside the body. You can present that evidence all you want to, but when you got somebody who's going to narrate the actual death, there is no way you're going to put your credibility on the line and refute that. Now, I understand that you want to actually say that this guy wasn't qualified or not.
He was qualified. I never said that. Never even applied.
Okay, everybody believed his testimony.
Is correct, even from the most expert witness.
Okay. The actual pulmonologist testimony is what all of the jurors believed in the actual conviction of Derek Chauvin and nothing else.
Okay, I'll go along with that. They may have believed it. They may have found it convincing. But I'm telling you, there's probably, let's face it, when you have confirmation bias, that overrides a lot of other facts that might be dispositive toward the belief that you have. And I think in the George Floyd case, given all the intimidation and the general atmosphere of lawlessness accompanying it, that had much more to do with it than the fact that this pulmonologist, and I acknowledge his expertise. I mean, I didn't try to impeach him on his lack of credentials. He had them. I'm not trying to say he wasn't. I'm just saying that an expert witness does not necessarily trump everything else. But
yes, it does.
In this particular environment, it probably did. But I don't think it should have.
What?
No, because
you think the autopsy report should have been more believed than the pulmonologist narrating his death from beginning to end? You believe that?
Here's what he said in the trial. He said,
"Who said? Who is he?"
Martin Tobin, the pulmonologist you're referring to.
Okay.
Here's what he said in there. He's from Chicago. I know, let me not say anything. All right, anyway, but look, when the prosecutors asked him if he had made a medical opinion on what caused Floyd's death, this is what he said. He said, Mr. Floyd died from a low level of oxygen, and it caused an arrhythmia because his heart stopped. Now, low levels of oxygen do not always cause, in normal, healthy people, heart arrhythmia. You pass out and your heart starts pumping again and you come to. Now that's what he said. He said he had a low level of oxygen. He had a heart arrhythmia. He had shallow breathing. All of this, remember, I've never denied that the arrest and the stress of it didn't contribute to his death. I put that among the major reasons of it. But I'm telling you, the other reasons were so severe that even without 9 minutes on his neck, the same results probably would have ensued. There's certainly reasonable doubt that it might have. And if there's any reasonable doubt, you're not supposed to convict.
What?
You heard me? Beyond a reasonable doubt is always the standard. Since when are you making up a new one? You make up and you're saying it's not possible to have a reasonable doubt about a man with an arteriosclerotic cardiovascular system that horribly compromised, 90% blockage in the descending aorta. That's not even contributory. They had a right to restrain him. He was resisting arrest. Even despite his horrible health conditions, he was a former elite athlete. He was still a big, strong man. He was very difficult to contain. You see the guy, he's big, strong. If he probably could have had a great athletic career if he hadn't ruined himself with his criminality. So look, all of these things were contributory. Remember, reasonable doubt is a standard, not absolute certainty. Beyond a reasonable doubt. I think it's simply unreasonable to say that that man's health condition has harmed. Read the autopsy, for God's sake, especially the Armed Forces Pathology Report and the Hennepin County Medical. This guy, every single system in his body was ready to explode.
So
I mean, it's got to be reasonable.
What is going on, man?
9 minutes on his neck.
So may I interject, right? And what Nagoma 11 said, low level of oxygen could also mean choking as well. Can you choke?
Yeah, of course it does.
You don't have lack of oxygen. Sorry.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about contributory factors.
Oh man, well, how does his oxygen get so low, Sarge? He just decided to stop breathing on his own, right? Come on, man. What are we arguing about here? What's happening?
How does oxygen get transported throughout the body?
No, it's pumped by the heart. That's what it's supposed to do.
It's circulation. Circulation causes oxygen to circulate throughout the various parts of your body.
And asphyxiation does what, Sarge?
You got 90 and 75% blockage in your ascending and descending aortas. Is it likely that a stressful hand-to-hand combat with officers and wrestling with them, resisting with them for extended periods of time, having ingested fentanyl to a 300% lethal level, along with a host of other drugs, could that have contributed at least as much, if not more, than the knee on the neck and the back? Which I would contribute.
No. The answer is no, and I'll tell you why. The answer is no, and I'll tell you why. Because he wasn't dead until the knee got on the neck. What is going on here? What are we discussing here?
He died in the hospital. He didn't die on the scene.
And guess what, Sarge? Most people shot at the scene of a crime also die in the hospital. So does that mean that they didn't die from the shots that happened at the scene? Or is it the actual hospital's fault that they're dead? Come on, man. We know what we're arguing here, dude.
No. Remember, though, when you have an autopsy, you have a cause of death. They always, when they have a body, usually they can form a conclusion as to the cause of death. They form the conclusion as the cause of death. They listed the arrest and the stress from it as a contributory factor, not the factor. That is also clear from the autopsies, no matter what the pulmonologist said.
End of the day, I'm pretty sure George Floyd is still dead because of the knee on the neck for 9 minutes and something seconds. And every single person who actually says otherwise try to say the knee was in the bottom, the small of the back. Oh, it's the drugs in the system, as which most right wingers said and ran with for a while. But after the pulmonologist's testimony, that is when you're supposed to stop saying that shit. That's where you're supposed to stop.
No, going
So,
to
so
note
wait a
it
minute.
for
So,
its value in conjunction with all of the other evidence, unlike you, who simply refuse to consider anything but the pulmonologist's testimony. For you, that seals it. There's nothing else worth it. You literally just said
That's not
there
one.
is
That's
nothing
not my
else
point of view.
considering. I mean,
That's not my point of view.
as to the cause of his death, you don't even want to consider any other possibility.
Because we got 9 minutes and 15 seconds on tape. That ain't testimony.
I would agree with I would agree with you 100%. If Mr. Floyd was a completely healthy individual with no history of drug use, no compromised cardiovascular system, absolutely healthy, big, strong as he was, and he died, say, they must have choked. I would have said to myself, they probably choked him to death. But when I see the camera, the body cam camera from his fellow officers catching him with the knee not on the neck, placed where he was trained by the Minneapolis Police Department in the maximal restraint technique that his mother had to bring to the prosecutor to show that my son's not lying about where he had his neck, because this is where you taught him to put it. Where he had his knee. This is where you taught him to put it. And then they had to get the damn police chief up there lying on. Should have charged that son of a bitch with perjury. That was a bad cop for you.
I mean, they should have locked his mama up too for being on that bullshit too. But yeah,
Is it
she
like
should be in jail just like the rest of them.
boy? I got a country
Got
you
to
might
go.
be interested in moving to.
No, I mean, my country works fine. Especially when they prosecute cops when they're actually guilty.
Cops, when there's a reasonable doubt as their guilt in jail to satisfy a bloodlusting mob. Yeah,
You're
that's
talking about reasonable doubt.
a
Like
country to live in.
I want to make a point here. You talk about reasonable doubt, but you haven't even come to the conclusion of what the actual punishment should have been. That's crazy.
Well,
That you don't want this dude. You want him to be fired. This dude to end up in another department. Are you crazy? This dude go to jail. Time to go to jail.
okay,
Go to jail.
that's a fair question. Be honest with you, given the fact that I'm dealing with what actually happened, I haven't given
Yes.
anywhere near as much thought to alternative forms of punishment. You're right. I'll tell
What?
you
A week's not long enough?
wait a minute. I'll tell
You
you
knew about this a week ago.
what I'm going to do is give some thought to that. What should have been the appropriate charges and the appropriate punishment if the jury decided to find him guilty of those? Remember, it's not just me saying you're guilty any more than it is a prosecutor. You got to bring it for a jury, and then they got to conclude it. And yes, I can concede, obviously, because I'm a believer in fact, that a jury found Derek Chauvin guilty. Okay, so of both federally and locally, he got convicted in 2 courts, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Civil rights charges.
let's get everything straight. We got one jury validation for your point of view, but like I said, like with any case, and we well speak of these things all the time. The innumerable black men convicted by trial by juries that later were found to be defective. And we cheer it and we applaud it, and we should. But in this case, we don't even want to consider that possibility because it was a
Man, have some decency, Sarge. What are you talking about? Are you really going to try to use the prosecutorial?
He's not entitled to that level of consideration.
Sarge, are you going to use prosecutorial misconduct in all these other cases against black people as the reason why Derek Chauvin white ass shouldn't be locked up? What is going on here? Why would you say that?
What you should be asking me,
man, that's crazy.
What you should be asking me is what I would use. The prosecutorial misconduct came mainly from the judge is supposed to act as a referee. The judge is not supposed to take sides for either prosecution or the defense. He's supposed to be a referee. He's supposed to be calling balls and strikes. And given what was surely revealed to him at the end of that trial, he should have entered a finding or a referral to the appropriate authorities in Minnesota about that police chief perjuring himself, both him and that deputy police chief. Now, the misconduct, which strictly speak, is not on the prosecution on that respect. It's on the cop lying his ass off and saying, remember Mark Furman? Remember all the shit about Mark Furman? Didn't even really lie.
At the
He
end of the day,
said, "Hey,
this
I'm
department came out and testified against him
well,
because
I'm
he
just
made the
saying,
department look crazy.
when we get a cop who appears or actually perjures himself, or any witness in matters that are crucial for finding of guilty, we say they ought to be investigated and or charged with perjury. So the judge should enter a referral to the appropriate authorities in Minnesota to investigate that police chief and his deputy for perjury, for
Okay,
lying.
so when they flew those people out there from the LAPD to testify, for the state,
They gave
or what was going on, so did those people perjure themselves too?
they
So who
gave
else committed perjury in this trial? Now,
they
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. But
no
let's go down this long list of people who you think committed perjury in the George Floyd
wait. First of
trial.
all, they gave expert opinion. When you are giving expert opinion, it is framed in court as such, and more. It's very hard to find a finding of perjury when you're giving expert opinion. When you are denying a type of training takes
Was
place,
there an
that's
objection by the
all.
defense on
That is
anything those people
not in
said?
the same league.
I
When
got a
you
simple
are
question.
denying that the training even took place.
Okay, I have a simple question. Was there any objection by the defense from what those LAPD officers testified to? Was there any objection? And what was the objection? What type of objection? And what was the ruling of that objection? If
No,
their
no.
testimony was not supposed to be used, what objection did they use? What type? And what was the correcting argument that the defense actually wanted to replace in there?
All right.
You
First of
should
all,
know the answer to that.
yeah, I am. So I'm trying to tell you. When they asked the expert witnesses of LAB and they gave their opinions, they cross-examined them on the things they said. First of all, they took a look at what they said, and then they asked them to compare it to the Minnesota Police Department's regulations on the use of force. Now, remember, there is a state law on the use of force by a police or peace officer in Minnesota. There is the regulations by a police department. The two may not necessarily sync up, but even if they don't, the standards of the police department cannot be more excessive than the state law. You see the distinction? Minnesota can put more restrictions on their own officers than the state law does. They just can't put more. So, now remember, you can't charge them for violations of police regulation. You can charge them for violations of state criminal law. You can fire them for violating police regulation and state procedure. That's the difference. Now, what they asked those officers was they look at what Minnesota has adopted as its use of force guidelines. The National Institute of Justice use of force continuum has been adopted by just about every single police department in the country. If you study it, you'll know what it is. They start off with an example is like officer presence. You don't use any force. You're just standing there. That's a use of force. It deters conduct. Next is verbalizing orders, commands, instructions. That's a use of force. It's not physical. So you got
Okay,
two.
it's number two.
Number three, empty hand control. You use bodily force to gain control of a situation. You use a
Okay.
grab, a hold, a pain compliance technique, a joint lock,
Okay.
or a hard
Okay, well,
take.
let me know what number you get to when it comes to knee on the neck for 9
Okay,
minutes and 15 seconds.
now here's that
Let me know. Let me know when it goes to that level, please.
occupies the land between empty hand control and less lethal methods such as a blunt impact object like a baton, chemical sprays, and conducted energy devices like tasers. And then finally, there's lethal force, and we all know what that is. You run them over with your car, you shoot them with a shotgun, I don't know, you drop a piano on their head. As long as the deadly force use is justified, it doesn't matter how you kill them. As long as it's legally justified.
Okay,
So what Chauvin did
What's
between
going on?
empty hand control and less lethal method, it occupied that area in between.
Man, what are you talking about? It led to death.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, I have to interject here, right? Now, Sarge, why was George Floyd was taken out of the car? What was the reason behind that?
Because he was under arrest. They told me he's
For
under
what? For what?
They told me he's under arrest for passing a forged $20 note. That is
That's
an
not
arrest.
the procedure It's not the procedure how that's handled.
Now,
Wait,
wait a minute.
wait, wait,
Wait a
wait.
minute.
I'm going
Wait a minute.
somewhere with this.
Now
I'm
you
going
are
somewhere with
telling me about police for something I have done dozens, hundreds of times, and you tell me that's not procedure? I was an
No.
Illinois state policeman. I
Okay,
know what
so
the procedure is. When you inform a person they're under arrest and you tell them you're under arrest, get out of the car. If they don't get out of the car, and you can use whatever force is appropriate to make them exit.
but wait a minute, Basard.
Period. It
I'm
ain't
actually
no
glad your cat is like running interference for me right now, man. That's crazy.
Right,
But
Basard.
I'm about to send you
Basard.
to the shelter.
Okay, Basard.
Zero.
So, so, Sarge. So, whose car he was in before he was
He
grabbed?
was in his own car. He was driving, I believe, a Ford Bronco. That's where it all started. He was sitting in the car when the officers came up there, and they went in to talk to the shop owners. One of the officers detained him at the truck, telling him, "Stay here." And the other officer went into the store to ask him what they had. The store owner gave him a $20 bill, which clearly counterfeit. I think they had cut a 20 off one bill and put it on there, pasted it or something, make it look like a 20 at first glance. And I said, okay, that's clearly an arrestable offense. You got a man said he got it from him. Complainant, you got to complain it. He is testifying. He gave me this note. I am the cashier. He handed this note to me. As you can see, it's counterfeit. It's not real. Okay, who did it? That guy sitting over there in the car with the other officer. So I go over there, talk to him, say, yep, he's the one. Okay, put him under arrest. Then I put him under arrest. That is a violation of state law and federal law. But they're going to arrest him under the state law. He's under arrest. He was under arrest for that offense.
okay, so they never determined whether the bill was real or fake. That's
That's not
why
their job at that point.
they never determined that. It's
Okay,
never been determined.
that's something you bring up after he's arrested and indicted and or at a preliminary hearing or whatever it is they do in Minnesota. And then you bring
That's
up
why
what you
my
don't.
way
Wait a
of the
minute.
way I
What
handle
you
it is
don't.
more
Wait a minute.
correct than
What
theirs.
you don't do is resist the arrest. That's what you don't do.
How can you be under the, arrest for something that hasn't even
That's
been
what the
verified
courts
yet?
are for.
Dude, you just don't go locking people up
You
for
lock
passing
people
a
up
fake
on
bill.
probable cause or observation of an offense. They had probable cause because they believed that bill was counterfeit and that he passed it. That's
Okay,
all they
so
need. They don't need a certainty. They need probable cause. They had it.
end of the day, if they just would have wrote the dude a ticket and not try to place this dude on the arrest and did all these other things, none of those people would be in jail, man.
Okay, well then, if cops don't do it,
No, no, no. It's pretty simple.
don't do
It's
it.
pretty simple.
Let's just turn all these Democrat-run cities into Haiti. I kind of like to see that because I got lots of ammunition, I got lots of strap, and I got a very defensible home.
Yeah, well, you live in a Democratic-run city yourself, man. So don't
They're not
don't
crazy.
go with the Democrat-ran city stuff, man. Because you live in a Democrat-ran area. Come
They're
on
not.
now.
They're not crazy Democrats here. They really aren't.
Hmm
I'm speaking of
They're
places.
not that crazy, but they are very liberal, and you live your ass there around those people.
By the way, I don't have to imagine this. We saw it in 2020. We saw the police allow hordes of criminals ransacking, burning, murdering, looting, and they did essentially nothing. So we know what will happen if the police stop enforcing the law. Go back to 2020. It wasn't that long ago. We could see it for ourselves.
Specific to this case, though, at
Well,
the
you
end of
brought
the
up all that
day,
other stuff. I felt I had to answer.
specific to this case, though,
Why didn't they just let him go? I mean, nobody would have gotten in any trouble. Just let him go
at the
past.
end of the day, they're supposed to do the investigation. They didn't. We don't even know whether the bill
They're
is fake
supposed
or
to
not,
arrest him when
which
they have
means,
probable cause.
yeah, but they still should still have control of the evidence and still determine whether it's real or fake. The fact that we don't even know that, that's crazy.
You don't think they're going to book the bill into evidence? Of course they were going to do that.
And how come they didn't determine it whether it was
They
real or
go-
fake?
Like they got to book him into the jail. Then they got to go back to the station and do the paperwork, and they got to give to the evidence custodian the bill. That's the way
Okay,
it works.
okay. How long?
You can't do everything on the
Sorry,
street.
sorry. How long ago was this situation?
You mean the actual incident,
Yeah.
2019?
You don't think that between 2019 and 2026 you can determine whether that bill is real or fake?
Oh, they've already determined. Yeah, okay, that's been determined.
What's going on, man? Like, what's
You
happening
do
here?
realize, wait a minute, you do realize George Floyd never went to trial for that offense because he died.
Somebody made sure that he died, which is
Yeah,
why
no,
they
no,
were on
no, no,
trial.
no, 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 no. You cannot,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
yeah. That's what happened.
Try a dead man in the United States. There's no trial by absentia here.
At the end of the day,
So,
man,
yeah, so no. Was it proved beyond a reasonable doubt? No, because he's a dead man.
we know how he died, right? We
No, you
know
asked
how
me,
he died.
was it proven that the bill he had was counterfeit? That's what you asked me. And I said the
I
reason it
know.
wasn't determined legally is because there was no trial.
That doesn't mean you can't still determine whether it's real or fake, man. What
Well,
is going on here?
if that is that important, I
It
guess I would
is.
see if anybody determined it. But the way you determine these things usually is with a trial. There was no trial. He died before he could go to trial.
But it's a very important factor of whether police should have been called in the first place.
Okay, you know what? Police make mistakes all the time. By the way, I don't think they did in this case.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Oh, no. They
Wait,
make mistakes. That's why their ass is locked up. What are you talking about?
police make mistakes all the time. I don't think they made a mistake in the case of him passing a counterfeit bill. No, I don't think they were mistaken at all. I think he was probably guilty of that offense.
Well, how come we don't know whether it's real or fake if you believe that so strongly, bro?
Because you know what? It's not really pertinent to anything. He resisted.
It isn't.
Would have
That's
been
the whole reason why they're out there.
that would have been charged. He would have been charged with drug possession. He would have been charged with resisting an obstructing arrest, probably battery on a law enforcement officer, and passing a counterfeit bill. He would have had at least four offenses against him. But none
Okay.
of them came to be proven. Not one, not even the resisting arrest, which I know he did. Not even that, because he didn't go to trial for any of them.
Okay, Basard. Now, I hate to take the interject here, right? Because I'm supposed to be impartial, but how far was from George Floyd's car to the nearest police car? And
Across the street.
okay, so it was across the street, right? Why wasn't a second police officer, was not escorting Mr. Floyd to the vehicle? And when he was saying he could not breathe, uh, how come it wasn't? Because he stated it before he was on the ground. Am I correct?
Yeah, he did. He said, I can't. I think it reminded me of that. He was telling the cops while he was in the car that he was having trouble breathing. That's on the videotape.
So why was yeah, okay, good. So why wasn't the ambulance called?
No, the ambulance wasn't called until he appeared to be unresponsive on the scene. When he appeared unresponsive, after a while, then they called the ambulance to come and pick him up. And the ambulance did not arrive on the scene because of incorrect dispatch information.
Okay, then why wasn't ambulance was called if somebody's saying that they can't breathe, right? And because I'm assuming the drugs that he ingested was taking effect. Um, it seems like they knew he ingested something. Um, so why didn't they call it in the first place?
That's a good reason to question their judgment. Now, that would be a reason to question their judgment for purposes of either disciplinary action or maybe neglect.
Okay, then wouldn't that be criminal neglecting?
Not under Minnesota statutes at the time. No, they've changed the statutes since then, but not under the statutes that existed when this incident occurred.
Okay. Do y'all want to move on to the next topic? Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotta sum it up. I tell you what, if you want me to go first, if you want to go first, we just gotta sum this up, and then we can move
Okay.
on.
All right. So, Derek Chauvin, they got it right. Stabby McMexican almost took him out in the actual jail cell. You know. You know. The end of the day, man, he gave that dude no shot, no chance. They provided No background investigation. They couldn't even determine whether the bill was fake or not. They just wanted to lock this dude up for lock a dude up's sake. They put his knee on his neck for no reason, 9 minutes and some seconds. There's really nothing to discuss here. At the end of the day, I'm glad his ass is in jail. I'm glad all of the officers who sat there and watched him do what he did, I'm glad their asses is in jail. His mother should have been in jail for trying to come up there and run interference. I don't believe in running interference from the cops at all. I think that you should keep your ass out of it. I was trained under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Police are not above the law. I don't give a shit if they're afraid or not. Motherfucker, go through some anti-fear training or some shit like that. I think that police should be locked up in most of these cases. I think it should be very hard for a police officer to retire given that job, because the people who we allow to hold this type of power are able to get away with things that they shouldn't, with all those actual prior actual complaints. Those things lead to this type of action right here. I know the actual judge did not grant that motion whenever he was supposed to. In most cases, he would have, but 22 cases of use of force violation or people felt it. And this right here is a use of force overage, which led to somebody's death. If you're going to say that the person should not be in jail, you had better put a lot of thought into what the punishment should have been. And if the punishment still ain't jail, this person just would be another cop in some small town area doing the exact same thing or worse, because police, whenever they do things wrong and get away with it, it escalates. It doesn't de escalate, it escalates. In this case right here, if you do not agree, you just should be in prison. It is not a matter of opinion. It is a matter of, would you like to be dead under these circumstances, yes or no? And if you do not want to be dead under these circumstances, then obviously you're doing this for some other reason. Thank you for your time on this topic.
All right. So I'm gonna go from one shooting to another, or a new, or another not shooting, but another police misconduct. Are you aware of the Aurora Colorado shooting of Stubblefield?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's gonna be the next topic about the and the indictment of police officer Neely. Um, do you have any opinions about that?
No, I mean, the system worked. I don't. I mean, when they do the indictment and all that kind of stuff, I have no problem with it. They should just be going to jail in all cases, right?
Okay.
Like, there's no real reason for me, police officer, overage of force, jail, prison, all cases, life in prison, no possibility of parole, life in prison. Anybody who tries to justify what he did, life in prison, no possibility of parole for them. Especially if it ends in death, life in prison, no possibility of parole. There's no such thing as opinion here. If somebody is dead because of somebody's neglectful actions, they should always be in prison. In the military, we had no problem locking up people who didn't do what they were supposed to do at the time that they were supposed to do it. I don't like these things in the civilian world because maybe 2 out of 10 times they get it right. It's too many times where things don't work efficiently. My case is they all should be locked up in every single time in every single case. And if they're not getting life in prison, then the punishment is far too light.
Okay. Okay. So to you, Sarge, um, what is your opinion on Officer Neely and the shooting of Mr. Stubblefield?
Okay,
I
first
hope,
of all,
I hope I
you know,
got that right. I hope I
I,
got that.
I plan to speak up vigorously in defense of that whole pesky due process thing for anybody charged with a crime by the state. That is something that is never to be waived or ever to be obviated for any reason whatsoever, as long as we have a Constitution of the United States and a Fifth Amendment thereto, along with the 14th Amendment that reinforced it. So I say due process for these officers, just like anybody else. Now, I'm going to start off with a personal story, which I tend not to do very often because I don't want to muddy the waters over much. But I
But you
was
are.
I was in a nearly identical situation when I was a police officer. And let me explain it to you quite briefly with the facts of what occurred. I was going to the James R. Thompson Center in downtown Chicago to handle some administrative paperwork because it's the state building where a lot of state agents are had, and I had to do some interdepartmental corroboration on a case I was working on. And I went up there into the building. I got my uniform, Smokey the Bear hat, all that shit, state police all over it, badge, the gun, it's all the shit. You know what I am. It's clear what I am. And I'm going in the building, a woman grabs me by the arm. And she points to this guy who's kind of putting his head down as she points to him. And she said, Trooper, you see that guy over there? I said, yes. She said, last month he's knocked me down and stole my purse. So you say, that's the man that did it, ma'am? And she said, yes. And so naturally.
What's his name? Hardcore Tito?
Naturally, look, okay, now, come on now. I'm telling you straight.
Okay.
You don't have to like it. I'm going to tell you the way it happened. And again, so I told him, I say, hold on a minute there, sir. I want to talk to you for a minute. And I'm about 6 feet away from him. He books. He books like Speedy Gonzalez. So it's on. It's a chase. It's a foot pursuit. Now, I know you can say, well, he ain't did that. What are you chasing him for? In any Terry situation, what you thought, Terry versus Ohio, Supreme Court decision. We may not like Supreme Court. We don't agree with them, I suppose, but they did say such conduct is suspicious and warrants investigation. When a uniformed police officer asks you to stop and you run away, that is grounds in and of itself to hold you and detain you and investigate the reasons as to why you're running away. Period. I don't need no other justification. So let's get that out the way first. So it's on. I'm chasing. I chase him about 2 good blocks. He goes into the parking garage of the Cook County building, which is about 2 blocks away from the Thompson Center. And I chase him down the garage, and I lose sight of him. You know what the parking garages are? You go down the ramp, and all the cars are there. He's got a head start on me. I don't know where he is. I don't know where. Now, there's only one way out because I'm very familiar with that parking garage, and I didn't hear a door slam. So I figure he's still there somewhere. And I figure he's hiding underneath the car somewhere. So I can't see him. I don't know if he's armed or not. I take out Mr. 9mm, and I start looking up under the cars. And I see this motherfucker's feet. I say, okay, come on out, slow, back to me. Just back out from under the car with your hands up. Because I don't know what he's got. I don't know if he's armed. He didn't run away. I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's even guilty. All I know is I asked to speak to him. He ran away from me after a woman told me he robbed her. So that's plenty of reason to do what I'm doing right now. So he's backing out slowly. He's coming out, and he's doing everything I'm telling him to do. Say, don't face toward me. Keep your hands out. And I tell him to stand. I told him to get up, get on your knees. He didn't do what I said to do. I said, stay on your knees. He stood up. Then he turned around toward me. Then he started walking toward me, telling me, I ain't did nothing, man. Why are you chasing me? And I tell him to stop moving. Now we're about 8 feet away. And he's walking not that fast. He's just kind of taking slow steps toward me. I got my gun on him. I got a 9mm Smith & Wesson 59-04 pistol on, loaded with 124 grain black talon hollow points. And I'm telling him to not move. And he's still walking toward me. I said, don't move. I got my gun out. He's walking. I'm on him. Don't move. Stop walking toward me. So I got to make up my mind. What am I going to do with this fool? Am I going to get up on him, let him grab my gun, and we're going to be in a life and death struggle with my gun? He's refusing to obey my orders. I'm going to say I'm yelling. You hear my lungs. I got good lungs. I can make some noise. I know he can hear me. He's responding to what I'm saying. I ain't did nothing, man. What are you chasing me for? So look, I got to make a decision. Am I going to shoot this motherfucker? Am I going hand in hand with him? Now, look, I used to train like a beast. I was in shape because I was a soldier. I've been to Ranger School. I've been to jump school. I've been a non-commissioned officer's candidate course. I was an infantry squad leader and a tank commander, and I was in shape. I believe in physical conditions, literally life and death, because it was life and death when I was in combat. So I believe as a police officer, you got to be prepared to go from 0 to 100 in a split second. In a split second. And if you're not in shape, you may die or fail to do the job. So you got to be in shape. I can bench press 400 pounds. I can run 2 miles in 14 minutes. I mean, I could do it all. I was in shape. So I said, okay, I can deal with this motherfucker. He ain't that much bigger than me. So I put away Mr. 9mm. He went at it hand to hand. And I did beat his ass. I got him under control, got him handcuffed. But you better believe, for a split second there, I was thinking about shooting his ass. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't have to kill him. But believe me, if I really thought I would have had to, he'd have been a dead motherfucker. You better believe it. He'd have been dead right then, right there. And I'm watching that thing in Colorado, and I'm thinking I went through a very similar situation. And I know that officer had only a moment to make a decision, just like I did. And the problem for him was maybe he didn't practice reholstering his gun enough. Maybe he was adrenaline dumping. Maybe he was losing fine motor control. That is what happens. I was a police firearms instructor. Those are things you have to teach your students to expect in a high stress situation. You're going to lose some degree of fine motor control. And I think that's what happened to him. He couldn't get his gun holstered. So he still got a gun in his hand. The guy's advancing on him. This is likely to result in a life or death situation for him. And remember, he had thrown away a gun when he got out of the car, and he's telling his son to retrieve it, undoubtedly to give it to him. And he's backing him up into traffic. So you know what? All those things combined together, you better believe, on this particular case, I can identify with it.
Boy. You ain't the only person who's been a cop. You ain't the only person who's been cornered. None of that shit. At the end of the day, I want the police to get their motherfucking ass whooped. You should learn how to fucking fight.
So if you learn how to fight and you still get your ass whipped, you just want to be hurt. You just don't
Yeah.
like cops, do you?
No, I used to be one.
And you
Wait, wait, wait,
really
what are you
wish
talking
them
about?
ill. Well, they're not going to cooperate with you in that. I'm just letting you know. The cops are not going to cooperate with your desires.
Well, guess what? We'll find other people to be cops, bro.
I'm
That's
saying,
it.
the police. You want all police. You would have liked me to have been hurt. I'm sure. You like all police to be injured and or killed in the performance of their duties. You just don't like the police. You don't really probably don't think they should exist. I'm sure you believe they should be defunded. After all I've heard you say, I cannot conclude anything else.
There's nothing about the actual police that need to be defunded. It's just a actual different levels of what their actual priorities should be. I don't think the police should have updated vests or none of that shit. I don't think they should have weapons of war or none of that shit. I think that they should be walking around like Barney motherfucking Fife. If you
Okay.
said nothing about these weapons of war becoming on the fucking streets, you don't get to go spend millions of fucking dollars talking about how you scared for your fucking life for shit you didn't open your mouth about because
Okay.
you right wing adjacent. Fuck
Okay.
that. No, no,
All right.
no. You
Well,
go
look,
out there. You
I'll tell
you
you what.
go out there like Barney Fife with your tie on and no actual
Okay.
nothing under it, like a real hero.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. I tell you what.
That's
I
it.
passed up my opportunity to just randomly kill a man. When I tell you one thing, had I shot that son of a bitch, it would have been justified at that time. The attorney
No,
general, I
and
guarantee,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying,
you,
bro. Like y'all
guarantee
are too trigger happy, man.
Attorney General of the state of Illinois would have looked at the circumstances in the case and would have backed me up in court.
And
Then
if
said,
your ass had been a civilian who did the same thing, he would have
if,
locked your
if,
ass up.
if the Cook County State's attorney had decided to indict me, I guarantee you the Attorney General of Illinois would have backed me up in that case and handled my case in my defense. It was a just
Dude,
if had I chosen to shoot him, it would have been justified legally.
dude, they watched somebody get shot 25 fucking times and they didn't even
Okay,
they
I would.
hid the tape for a while, man. Like, bro,
He didn't
stop
shoot
with
him
the
25
foolishness
times. Shot
here.
him 3 times. He didn't shoot him 25 times. Shot him 3 times.
At the end of the day, let's get back to this Stubblefield case, man. So what do you
Yeah, let's
think
get
about
back to
that?
Stubblefield case. And that's why I'm saying I've been in a situation. I'm sure I'm familiar with what he was thinking.
You're not the only person who's been in that situation, man.
So what? So that means there's more people who might agree with me then, doesn't it?
Here is my question, right? Man of tomorrow. So, you also a police officer too at one point. Have
Yeah,
you encountered any similar situations that Sarge
far worse,
far worse?
far worse.
Uh, and you is a well, never mind. You was in the military police. I don't think you would
No, 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 no,
disclose.
no. Like when you have to go off base and take shit into base housing, now you have to because there's four types of jurisdiction. So let's talk about two for the sake of this conversation. On the military base, it's exclusive jurisdiction, federal. When you go off there into like civilian kind of federal shit, it's concurrent jurisdiction. So now I have to actually enforce the laws of the city, well, city and county of Denver if it's there, or the city and county of Aurora or Arapahoe County if it's there, and federal shit. So I've been
Boy,
hurt on the job a lot. I got
Wait,
2 visible fucking stab wounds on my fucking body.
oh,
And
oh,
I didn't wake up and unload on the motherfucker, all right? At the end of the day, you have to acquit yourself like a fucking professional while your ass is at work. This whole shooting motherfuckers, they so close. Oh, I could have blown them away. And the district attorney just would have, man, fuck all that. At the end of the day, man, you ain't supposed to be blowing a motherfucker away, all right? You're supposed to allow that shit to happen in the fucking courtroom. And if you don't want to allow that shit to happen, man, then fuck you. Go find another job, bruh. It's easy.
okay. Since I was a police firearms instructor, I happen to know, as a fact, that
The
out of
fuck
police
does that
officers,
have to do with anything, man?
police officers who are killed in the line of duty, 25% of them, give or take, depending on the year you're talking about, are killed when their own guns are taken away from them. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear me. 25% or so of police officers killed on duty are killed with their own firearms having been taken away from them. Now, that figure has been dropping in recent years because of two things.
I know.
They've got better retention holsters now, and there's
Yeah,
better
triple retention holsters.
anti-retention training, so the numbers have been dropping. But it was alarmingly high at one time. Now let me
I
finish.
know.
Let
Learn
me
how to fucking
let me
fight and
finish.
don't take your gun out for no dumbass fucking reason.
Let me
That's why
finish.
you got it taken from
And
you, and that's why you got fucking shot.
that's why I we had to qualify 4 times a year in Illinois State Police every quarter, and we had defensive tactics refresher courses every time. I instructed those too, including weapons retention. So believe me, I know this subject. But let me tell you something. Now, you just said a minute ago, my 4 years in active duty was spent in combat arms, armor, and infantry. I was in Vietnam. They called me up for the first Gulf War, and I got called up again for Operation Iraqi Freedom. That was 3 times when I was in the National Guard. And when I was in the National Guard, the whole time I was in there, I was a military police operations sergeant. Hotel 19-77 Military Police Company. That's what TONE, which is a general military police company. You know, general, we do all of it. Combat stuff, combat support, and law enforcement. And there is no way a military policeman can enforce civilian law ever under the Posse Comitatus Act.
Bro,
It is strictly forbidden. You cannot
bro.
do it. Now, you can arrest civilians if they're on base, or you can make a citizen's arrest if you're off
No,
post and you see a crime. But you're doing
that's
it
not
as a
true.
citizen, and you must turn them over to
That's not
civilian
true.
authorities immediately. The Posse Comitatus has not been suspended. The only way military police have arrest authority over civilian personnel as military policemen enforcing law, the manual for courts martial, which is what the Uniform Code of Military Justice uses for such things. The
Dude, what are you talking about?
manual for court martial
Listen, man.
can
If base
only
housing isn't on
the
fucking
manual
base,
for court martial can only be enforced in a state of martial law, which has never
that's
been
not
employed
true.
in a
That's not
state of
true.
the Union since the Civil War.
It's not
Never.
true. It's
Only in
not
the
true, man.
Civil War has martial law in any state ever been applied. The last
That's
time
not true,
martial
man.
law was employed on the United States territory was the state of Hawaii in 1941 after the Pearl Harbor attack.
That's not
It has
true.
never been. State martial law can be, and that's using state National Guard forces, not federal. You are
Not
making it up.
true.
You just made that up.
Not true.
Made that up.
Our base housing is not connected to the base at Buckley Air Force Base. There's base housing in Aurora and there's base housing in Denver. And if you
That's
have to
federal
patrol
property, sir.
those areas,
That's
you have to,
federal property.
sir. That's what I'm saying. That's why in the Air Force, there's 4 types of jurisdiction. There's exclusive, and then once you're on out there, not on base, it's concurrent.
All
You
right.
have to actually protect both. That's what it is.
All right. Yeah. Charge it. Who hears those cases? A federal magistrate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna arrest him. You're gonna take him to I know what this. I did it. Has a military police operations sergeant and
You
platoon
keep
sergeant.
pretending that I
All right.
didn't
All
do it
right. So
too,
look.
though.
So look. I was a military police supervisor, sir.
What does
I
that
know the
mean?
USA and the manual for court martial
We
back
did
and
the
forward.
same job.
All right. So then how are you gonna sit there and tell me that you can enforce civilian law off the
Yeah,
post? Base
yeah.
housing is federal property.
Dude, listen. You have to understand, man. Listen, everybody
And
there.
then they're going to charge you under they're going to charge you on the state law, but a federal magistrate's going to hear it.
Okay, so you're not dumb. So you understand
I know I
that.
did this
They're
job.
gonna charge you. Okay. I was waiting for you to say that, right? They're gonna charge you with a state law, but a federal magistrate is going to fucking hear it. That means you have to fucking enforce the goddamn law. There's nothing to argue about here.
All right, okay. But you
Yeah,
sound
so you do understand it. So you
like
did all this grandstanding to make my point.
you
Come
sounded like
on, dude.
you're supposed to do it, and you can't
Back to the
do it.
Stubblefield. Back to the Stubblefield case. All right. Since you made my point after all that filibustering, back to the
That was
Stubblefield case.
filibuster. You know I'm telling it like it is.
You didn't. You just made my point at the end of
I
all
made
that
it show
fucking
you how it works,
filibustering and
the way
screaming.
it works. You cannot enforce civilian law off the reservation, off the
Okay,
federal
you
coast.
just said that even if you were charged with a state crime, a federal magistrate is gonna fucking hear
Only
it.
if you
So
make the arrest on the federal reservation.
that's why you charged them initially. You called the
And if
fucking
they're
other people
civilians, you've
out.
got no jurisdiction over them other than turn them over to the civilian authority first. They do all the
I know.
processing.
Guess who fucking stops them first before they get there? You detain them until they get there. You're still part of the case.
You just detain. You don't even
You're
process.
still part of the case. Oh, come on, dude. You pretend like you
I
don't
know
know how
what
this
to
shit
do because I
works.
did the job.
But some person is not screaming and who also did the job too, though.
All right, I'm just emphasizing, man. That's see the one thing about the Constitution, United States, you seem to hate. We got a very big deal about military use against civilians, especially in law enforcement. We don't like that. That is a concept the United States as a whole does not like.
All right, man. Man, back to the Stubblefield case, though.
Yeah. Well, okay, you think it was unjustified, right? And the cop should go to jail.
Yeah, all cases, most cases.
Tell me why. No, I'm talking about this particular case. I want you to explain to me in complete detail why his shooting of that man was unjustified.
Dude, listen, man. Y'all gotta have better training, man. Simple as that.
That's your whole case? That he
Yeah,
was insufficiently trained?
yeah,
And you think that precludes his right to just basic self-defense?
dude. At the end of the day, he got indicted.
I know he got indicted. I know that
Hmm.
bitch that indicted him too. I know her story. She's a leftist progressive. She's right
Here we
out of
go.
Minneapolis.
Here
I've
we
looked
go.
the story up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who she is. I'm not at all surprised. Now the
Okay.
next thing is getting the jury to go along with it after they watch that video in detail. This gonna
Okay.
at
So,
least
what do
be.
you think happened in the video? So, what do you think happened in the video?
Oh, I don't have to think. I want you to watch it for yourself. I'm not even gonna tell. I don't want to prejudice you. I want you to watch it, and I want you to admit in your own mind whether or not you.
Okay.
You don't have
Okay.
to free to tell
Big
me
J.
anything.
Big
I,
J.
I'm
Yes.
sure you're
Let's go to the
perfectly.
next topic because he's not even going to answer the question about the topic we on. So let's go
No,
to
well,
another topic.
okay. Then she's gonna force me to. I'll tell you what I saw. I will tell
Yes.
you what I saw.
That's what it's about.
Here's what I saw. First, here's what I saw. I saw the tape from the very beginning when it all started. He was driving under the influence, apparently. He crashed into a person's car. They got a license plate hit on it, and the officer, Neely, responded to it. He spotted his van, and he began a pursuit. He rammed into another car. He crashed into another car. This time, he disabled the car so it couldn't go anywhere. So now you got a felony stop. You got a fleeing felon, and in a fleeing felon, what do you do in a felony stop? Well, I'm telling you what I was trained, and every other police department officer in the country is trained. You pull your firearm out, and you start giving commands from the relative safety of your patrol car, which is what he did. He said, come out of the car, get on the ground. Come out of the car, get on the ground. What did Bro May do? Bro May got out the car and started saying, what you doing, man? I ain't did nothing. He starts running. He takes a gun out of his waistband and tosses it in the grass. And eventually the officer gets out and, comes after him, confronts him, tells him to get out of the car, stop moving. He never did. He never complied with any of the officer's instructions. Not one of them. Not one of them. He began advancing toward the officer, and he was telling his son, get that shit, pointing to where the gun would have been tossed. Get that shit. Now, what kind of man
So what is
tells
he
his
indicted
son,
for then?
tells his 14-year-old son, who's man-sized, by the way, tells his 14-year-old son to retrieve a gun, and the officer's got a gun on him. And he's telling his son to commit a crime. And his son's got enough sense to say, chill out, Pop, chill out, Pops, chill out, Pops. And he's telling the cop, chill out, officer. He's telling both of them to chill out. But his father ain't chilled out. He ain't listening to his son. Son's got a little bit of sense. Not daddy. Daddy's coming on toward the officer saying, no. So the officer pushes him back when he gets within arm's reach of him. He gives him a hard shove and he stumbles, kind of falls back down. And then he gets up and comes back toward the officer again. And the officer this time punches him and he goes down again. Now, bro, man's pissed now. Oh, shit, this often hit me his own. So he gets there and he gets, he's taking a little Mike Tyson stance. He getting ready to do a shoulder roll and got his hands going back and forth. Bro, man's getting ready. Hey, he ready to deal. You hear me? And so the officer says, get back, stop. And he steadily advances him in a fighting stance. Get back, stop. Officer's backing up into traffic now. Traffic's coming. These people ain't stopping. They just gawking. Rolling right on by the street. They ain't stopping to help the cop or nothing. They just gone by. And now he's backing out the street. Bro, man, keep coming on, man. Get that shit. Get that shit. He's dead to come toward the officer. And then the officer says, well, fuck it. He tries to holster his weapon. Then you can see him reaching for an impact weapon on the side of his belt. I'm sure his fine motor skills are utterly deteriorated by this point, either by adrenaline, maybe a bit of a panic. I don't know on that one. But I know this much. He is not holstering his weapon while trying to do it. So he brings his gun back up again, and then he starts shooting guy. He puts the Mozambique drill on this dude. 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. And he's down. And he's down.
That's why your ass is going to jail,
So
bro.
that's what
He ain't getting away with that shit.
I gave you a detailed breakdown of what I saw. Now, what I want you to do is see and make your own judgment.
I did.
You don't agree with me, do you?
No, fuck no. Why the fuck would I agree with somebody putting 2 in the chest and 1 in the fucking head? Fuck out of here.
Narrative, if I was narrating a fight, do you agree
No.
with that? So
I don't.
lied about what I saw?
No, like most of it is correct, but dude, at the end of the day, that's not your in that case. That's not your only option, bro.
About what should have been done.
2 in the chest and 1 in the fucking head.
Yeah, Mozambique drill, perfect Mozambique drill. He did that right.
Okay, all right. So that's why he's indicted. Yeah.
Well, we shall see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've looked up the use of force statutes in Colorado. And the Aurora, Colorado Police Department, I see nothing in either of those sources that would forbid what that officer did. Now, they're probably going to try to do a Derek Chauvin on him, too, because they're a bunch of punk-ass progressives in Colorado.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm saying that 2 in the chest and 1 in the head is not the only way that you can solve a situation like that. Even with somebody who done something like that. I just don't think that's the only way.
For anything, but should he have done it the way I did it?
Yeah. That was my training. My training was to do it exactly that way. That was what my training was.
What would you have done? Let's say you had a situation like, Officer Darren Wilson and Brown in Ferguson, where he attempted to disarm him in a squad car. All the evidence showed that was what occurred.
That ain't what happened, bro.
Now, it was clear that he did.
That's not what happened.
He had gunshot residue on his hand and a wound from the bullet that hit the interior of the squad car in the struggle.
Dude, if you shoot a person that many fucking times at close range, you're going to prison.
Afterwards, I'm speaking of what happened before. Before the shooting where he ventilated the guy, before that, they had a struggle in the squad car for his gun. Mike Brown.
Here we go, man. This shit, man.
Brown had gunshot residue, which only occurs in close contact, on his hand and a contact wound from a close-range bullet. He was fighting Officer Wilson for his gun in the squad car. He failed.
Do you know how fucking far away?
He struck Officer Wilson in the face.
Okay. Do you know how far the fuck away Darren Wilson was when he shot Brown?
I'll get to that in a minute. Right now, I want to deal with what happened
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, hell yeah. Get to it.
Listen
No,
to me.
no. It's a direct question.
I am not.
How far
I am not going to
was
ignore it.
no, sir. It's a very simple question. It's a
No,
very simple question, and I'm gonna ask it again. How far was Darren Wilson away from Brown when he started shooting? What was
about
that
7
distance?
yards.
Okay.
Now let me
7 yards. No,
finish.
no, 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 no.
Let me finish
Sir,
setting the stage.
no, you can't set the stage.
Without that, he doesn't have any grounds to shoot him. That's the point. If I don't set the stage, I am admitting to you he has no grounds to shoot Mike Brown. You have to set the stage for the use of deadly force.
Okay, but sorry.
If he's
So
if he's 7 yards away, what the fuck are you talking about? He had gun residue in his
You
motherfucking
don't want to
hands.
set the stage because you don't want to know what the truth is.
Bro, this dude
You just want me to,
unloaded,
you just want
reloaded, and kept shooting.
wait a minute. You just
What
want
is going on here?
you got to remember that Barack Obama's Department of Justice went down there, investigated that case, and that report they wrote sounds like Officer Wilson's defense attorney.
I still think they should have locked his ass up.
I know you do. You're always going to say that. It's
Yes,
your
I
default
do.
position.
Yes, I do.
It's your default setting.
No,
Yes, it
I
is.
was trained. My
Anytime the
training,
police officers have to
my
kill somebody,
training
they think they're
put
guilty.
me actually involved in up close and personal with motherfuckers who did shit. I wasn't no coward or some punk ass bitch who wanted to pull out a fucking gun and shoot a motherfucker a gang of motherfucking times without getting personally involved. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the fucking difference is, man.
Well, like you said, you're not the only one. You know how many opportunities I passed up to kill a motherfucker?
Yeah,
did.
you should have passed up every single one of them.
I
Thank
did.
you for passing them up.
The only people I've ever killed were in Vietnam. I've never killed a human
Great.
being outside of Vietnam.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm trying to explain to you.
So why are you justifying every single time somebody do get shot?
trying to explain to you that I, in fact, did do exactly what you said. When I had the opportunity to kill somebody, I didn't do it. Like when a guy tried to knife me in an alley, and I picked up a mattress and charged it with it and knocked him down. Now I had every legal reason to shoot him, and I didn't. So you ain't got to lecture me about morality and what you should and shouldn't do. I already understand. I'm morally and ethically sound.
You're not. Because you're defending police shooting motherfuckers, man.
You on every occasion, you hate the police. You hate the police. You want them
I
jailed.
don't.
You don't like what they do.
No, that's not true.
I tell you, you can talk to any of my colleagues, and they'll tell you how I was about this. I told them, I said, get in shape, stay in shape, and be ready to go to hand-to-hand with these motherfuckers, because they've been in Stateville, they've been in Pontiac, they've been pumping iron for 5, 6, 10 years. And that's what you're going to be up against much of the time when you get out there with them. You better be ready to compete, man. It's a battlefield out there when you got to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour after a whole ship to board them.
Again,
then
it's
you gotta
this
go
fucking
over just
torrential downpour of fucking Gish Gallop shit. It's a simple fucking question, man, about Darren Brown.
Disarming techniques against police officers in the joint. I've seen them do it.
Mike Brown versus Wilson. How far was he away?
7 yards, 21 feet.
Okay. Do you think it's appropriate? Do you think it's appropriate for a person to reload and keep fucking shooting?
Hey, Mr. Military Policeman, have you ever done a Tweller drill? Have you ever done a Tweller drill? You know what that is?
Yes.
What is a Tweller drill? TUELL.
At the end of the day, dude, this shit again. Another Gish Gallop, another fucking red herring. We're talking about this specific fucking case.
You said like 7 yards or some kind of magical distance away that makes you impermeable. Is that what you believe?
7 yards, 21 fucking feet.
Now who doesn't answer?
You shot that dude multiple times and you fucking reloaded.
7 yards is 21 feet.
You got to go to fucking
21 feet. What is a Tweller drill? What is a Tweller drill?
Dude, that ain't got nothing to do with 21 fucking feet. I don't give a fuck about what it is. I'm talking about this case right here. Every time we talk about something specific, you bring up some bullshit ass fucking term that ain't nobody fucking heard of, nigga. Stay on this case. I'm asking you a question. A question is
I
very
asked you a
simple.
question, you didn't answer it.
How far away was it?
21 feet. How many
Great.
you want me to answer? I've already answered one time.
Great. Is it actually appropriate to shoot somebody at somebody, let
Now,
alone hitting them
let
and
me
reloading?
let me answer that fully. Listen,
Okay, please do.
21 feet and shooting someone is completely appropriate when just moments before
Man.
you were in a life and death struggle with that same offender for your gun. That automatically justifies when he charges you to
Hey,
shoot
man.
him to death.
Sarge, I'm not white. That shit doesn't work on me. I don't give a fuck whether police officers and life is in danger or
hear
not. If
my
the dude is 28
unequivocal
feet
answer?
away from you,
My
you're no
answer
longer in
to you
danger.
was unequivocal. Did you hear it?
But what? But was
Sarge.
okay? But was Mike Brown? Was he armed at the time he was
He
shot?
did not have a firearm. He had his fists and feet, and he weighed almost 300 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
Wait a minute.
Here we go.
Stop right there. Let's stop right. Whoa. Let's stop right there for a minute. Let's stop right there for a minute. So he's 21 feet. You said 7 yards, right?
Yeah.
So he's 20 plus feet away, and
No, that's 21 feet.
he has hands
Yeah.
and feet. Yeah, okay, that's 21 feet. Yeah. That's 21 feet, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, how is Daryl Wilson in any danger when he has the weapon? It's 20 feet. It's 20 plus feet away. 7 yards. It's 7 yards. You say, right? So him being 300 pounds would not give Darren Wilson time to invade. Should he charge up on Darren Wilson?
Okay, now we're going to get
without a weapon?
Okay, now you're bringing up matters of law. I know Man of Tomorrow is not going to have any patience for this argument, but law happens to be what we're dealing with right now. Under what circumstances does a police officer have the right to use deadly force? It literally is set in law and in common law. Common law, by the way, is all the decisions of all of the courts over the years. Every
Man,
court
bro,
decision
he asked you a
becomes part of
simple
the common law.
question, man.
Sir, will you please stop? I know this stuff backwards and forwards. The common law is that set of jurisprudence over decades and even centuries. They become part of the common law. Every court decision becomes part of the common law. Every one, because they're not all exactly the same. And they serve as precedent.
Man, this dude ain't gonna stop, man.
Let me answer your question. He sidetracked me. Let me answer your question. We're not talking about a matter of law here. And we're talking about under what circumstance a police officer is allowed to use deadly force, which is a Fourth Amendment seizure of a person by perhaps killing him dead. That's the justification under the Constitution. It's a seizure of a person by shooting him dead. That's what the court said. Mm-hmm. So, under what circumstances that allowed? Now, remember, under this particular instance, just moments before, this very suspect tried to take his gun from him.
And now he's 28 feet away now.
He won't let me finish.
And now he's 28 feet away now.
He won't let me finish because he knows where I'm going with this. He knows he's wrong. They just attempted to seize his gun by forcible means in literally a life and death struggle in the car. He ran away.
In the car.
He ran away when the gun went off. Officer Wilson was very fit and very fast, and he was gaining on him. And when he gained on him, both of them stopped. Wilson stopped. Brown stopped. Brown stopped, turned around, and charged him with his head down. 24 witnesses testified to this on a construction site. 24 witnesses said this. He turned around and charged Officer Wilson with his head down. Now, remember, had not the previous incident happened in particular with a life and death struggle for the gun in the squad car, you could argue Wilson wasn't justified in shooting. But with that in context, that completely justified it. And that's what the Department of Justice, Barack Obama's Department of Justice, said justified it.
Okay, but sorry. Okay. Now, was Darren Wilson right-handed or left-handed?
I'm not sure. I believe from the sequence of the way the shots went down, because they didn't all hit critical parts of his body. The head shot was what took him down. The other shots were not crippling even. He was still able to function with all those rounds in his body, because you look at the autopsy report. I remember there were no vital areas that were hit on his torso.
Wait, because I'm going somewhere with this, right? So when you wear a holster, you usually wear the holster where you're the hand that you usually use,
I don't
right?
remember which hand he was, though. That's from the pattern of the shots, as I'm remembering the picture of the
But,
autopsy report.
but I'm talking about the struggle.
He was
I'm talking about
probably
the struggle in the
left-handed.
car.
He was probably left-handed.
Okay, but is in the court evidence that he was right-handed or left-handed?
I just don't remember which hand he used. I do remember the pattern of shots on the body, and the shots appeared to go from his right side toward his center mass. So that would probably indicate that he was left-handed, but not absolutely. I can't say for absolute certain. What is the pertinence of that?
Let me look this up real quick.
I mean,
Because the struggle
what is
part, I'm
what
having
is
a
the
problem
relevance
with.
of that to this?
Because I'm talking about the struggle in the car. I'm talking about the struggle in the car, and then because
Gun car
if
bullshit.
if he's right-handed, right?
I think he was left-handed, and the holster was on his left side, and Brown reached in the car and punched him in the face. He had a swelling on his left cheek. He reached in the car and tried to pull his gun out of its holster while he was sitting in the car. And that's where the struggle for the gun began. And he was unsuccessful in getting away from Officer Wilson. As I remember the pattern of shots on Mike Brown's body, that would explain why he had that pattern of shots from the left side of his body going toward, from the right side of his body going toward the center. They didn't have too many shots on the right side of the body. All from the center line to the right side of his body was where most of the shots were, except, of course, for the shot that went through the top of the head, which was the one that took him down.
Jesus Christ, man.
Completely justified legally.
Completely not justified.
Completely justified legally.
Not justified.
Well, the Department of Justice and the state of Missouri disagree with you, just like you told me about me disagreeing with Minneapolis jury. That's the way it is.
That's fine, man. It's just that if that dude is 28 fucking feet away and you unloaded, reloaded, and kept fucking shooting.
No, he didn't reload. No, he did not reload.
Okay.
Don't make up things. He put a lot of bullets in. I think put 9 in him. He put a lot of bullets in him, no doubt.
Put 9 in him.
I ain't gonna deny. That's more than my 45 automatic carry.
Okay, but nine into the body, right, and 1 in the head. Well,
no, 9 total, 8 in the body, 1 in the head.
Yeah. But you fired 8 shots into this individual, and he's more than 15 feet away. More than 15 feet. More ample time for you to invade or use some other non-lethal
defensive tactics. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if you more than 15 feet away, you know this guy ain't no Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees.
That dude ain't even Juggernaut, man. Come on, man. Come on.
I mean, there's ample time to
Jay,
whoop his ass.
Yeah, but Jay, now you're bringing up another subject. Should have used a lesser means of force.
Yes.
Let's deal with that in a minute, okay? Let's just see. You try to put him in jail, MOT. You want him in jail, so I got to deal with the legal stuff first.
No, actually, prison forever.
Once we establish whether or not it's legally justified, then we can talk about alternative things he could have done, because there's always alternative things you could have done. Hell, you could not have bothered to chase him off. Put it on the radio. Hey, I got
9 shots, bro. 28 feet away, 9 shots.
I don't feel like,
you got to go to jail, bro.
I don't feel like chasing him. MOT might get mad at me if I have to kill him.
But the guy
He
is
could have
not
done that
is
too.
not in his. This guy is first of all he's unarmed. There's no
Yes.
knife. There's no gun. There's there
Nothing.
there's nothing in his hand. He's going but he's going to make he's doing man he's going hand to hand combat. So so you have the weapon. He's more than 15 feet away, more than 20 feet away, and
And charging,
you can put nine rounds into him.
and he's
That's just
charging,
How
crazy.
is that not?
charging you. He
How
didn't
is
start
that
shooting him.
not
He didn't start shooting until he started charging.
What
The
the fuck does that have to do with you shooting
right?
them 9 times, bro?
I just want to say,
Yeah, that's nine bullets.
then we can talk about the
I mean,
appropriateness of it. I'm just trying to establish the facts. Then we can talk about what's appropriate.
okay, but I can understand, Sarge. Okay, but Sarge, I can understand if this is a woman, a civilian woman who's not a police officer, somebody on the street, woman don't want to get grabbed or whatever. I can understand that. This is a police officer, right? And
Trained individual
he's
at
being
work.
charged, a trained individual, and this person is more than 20 feet away, and you put nine up in him.
9 rounds into him.
He was 20 feet away until he started to close the distance by charging him.
Okay, so now
Hey,
he's
he
Quicksilver or the Flash now. Come on, bro. I
Again,
think you purposefully missing the
I
point
noticed
here.
you did not answer my question about Tuella drill now, did you? You still don't want to, do you?
Dude, at the end of the fucking day, you need to keep on this subject and stop throwing these dumbass terms in here, man.
All right. Let's move on. Dumbass terms that you're so big on training about, but you don't want to talk about
Nope.
crucial police.
Nope.
All of a
Nope.
sudden, when it doesn't conform with your
9
narrative,
rounds.
you bring it
9
up.
rounds, bruh.
All right,
9 rounds. 21 feet away.
you don't
9 rounds.
go along with your narrative, so you don't want to talk about a crucial bit of good training.
No.
Now let's go on. Let's go on with.
9 rounds and 21 feet away is not good training, dude. It ain't.
I'm not
sorry.
sure whether or not we have reached the consensus. Now, Mike, with MOT, I know we haven't, but I'm talking about with you, Jay. Have we reached consensus that more likely than not, the shooting was legally justified, even if he might have used another method?
I don't think it is a justified shooting.
No, me neither.
Just legally.
No,
I mean, morally,
No.
but I'm talking about legal. Under the existing laws, when he was shot, would it be legally justified? Now, we talk about the ethics and morality separately.
oh, okay, but the thing is though, first of all, he was shot 152 feet away from the police vehicle. That's one thing. Then though he was shot between the distance between him and and Wilson is 21 feet and 7 inches. So, but my thing, how did he got far away from the car? So it can't be justified at this point. If there's
Dude
no
got stole on. He got out the car. He was following him. He turned. He waited until he turned the fuck around and then he unloaded on that dude. That dude should be in prison in every single case. That dude should be in prison. Dude, you
Okay.
wouldn't be able to get away with that as a civilian. You wouldn't be able to get away with no shit like that.
Big J, he's been ducking this. I'm going to just say it for you right now. The
Go
12
ahead.
drill, 21-foot rule teaches that a violent attacker can cover a man of ordinary health and speed. We're not talking about Usain Bolt. We're talking the average adult male, average in good condition, normal, healthy condition. A violent attacker can cover 21 feet in 1.5 seconds. This is the reaction time you have to make a decision to use whatever level of force you're going to use against a charging attacker. 1.5 seconds. No,
Right.
not Usain Bolt. The average adult male, of normal health, under 50 years of age.
Right.
1.5 seconds.
But
Now,
Sarge,
given that truth, not truth, but given that training and that understanding, we are talking about the fact that more people, according to the FBI uniform crime reports, more people are killed by fists and feet every year in the United States then
What
by
does that have to do with 9
every
shots, brother?
if you let me finish, I'll explain. Then are killed by every long gun in the United States. That includes shotguns, rifles, and so-called assault weapons. More people are killed with their fists and feet. This is a big man who just tried to take his gun.
Man, this screaming, bro, is
I'd
crazy.
like to remind you again, 25% of officers killed on duty were killed with their own handguns.
But Sarge,
You mean the context of that doesn't justify deadly force?
Man,
but Sarge,
bro.
if somebody, the point, okay, what you're saying is good and all, right? But the problem is, he was invading. He's 152 feet away
From
from
his
the
car.
One and a
From his
half seconds.
car.
All it takes is 1.5 seconds to close it.
Man, bro. I don't think he wants to listen
Look at
to
your watch
how far
right
away
now.
from his car
Look
he
at
is.
how long 1.5 seconds is. Look at your watch right now. When you got a digital watch, when it goes to the next number on the second hand and go 1.5 seconds.
Okay,
the
so
boy,
Sarge.
Boom, it's over.
300.
You can
The
close
boy,
that in 1.5 seconds.
the boy is the young man was 300 plus pounds, right? Uh,
How big is
the
an
distance
NFL lineman?
Here we
the
go
same,
with this shit.
They're pretty
the same,
fast.
but
They throw
he's not
21
an
feet
NFL
pretty
player
quick.
though. Mike Brown's not an NFL player though.
He's a young
So
man.
you think
Man.
that he sprinted 152 feet away and then he turn around and he about to charge again?
No. Remember, you got the sequence of events wrong. Remember,
Okay,
he
tell
after
me
the
what it is.
struggle in the squad car, Wilson gave chase. He got out of the car and chased him. He was gaining on him. Remember, he's got a head start because Wilson got to unbuckle his seatbelt. He got to open the door, get out of the car. Meanwhile, Brown is running away. He's clearly trying to escape Wilson. So Wilson gets out to chase him, obviously to place him under arrest. So he's running after him, and at some point he realized Wilson is going to catch him. Wilson's a very fit guy. So he realizes he's going to catch him. So he stops and he turns around. Wilson stops, has his gun out, and says, "Don't move." Guess what Brahmain decided to do? Charge him. He didn't just chase him and shoot him.
So
He
that's
didn't
why it's
shoot him
justified,
and
right?
began to charge him again.
That's why it's justified, right?
That's what the Department of Justice said. That's what the Ferguson Police Department said. That's what the state of Missouri said. They didn't even bring criminals. He wasn't even indicted.
All right. Well, I'm done with the Darren Wilson situation. I mean, it's
Yeah, I don't think it's been a very good
yeah,
case, man. I really
yeah.
don't.
Well, okay. So we can go to the Preddy or the Renee
Freddie,
Good situations.
which one do you want to go with first? Because you
No,
got a
let's go
better
with
case. You got a better case with George Preddy. That was a bad shooting. I ain't going to argue. It was a bad shooting. You hear me? Right up front.
okay.
I ain't going to argue. Bad
Okay.
shooting. Was it criminal, though? That's the question.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the Minnesota, the Freddie, and also
Renee Good.
Renee Good.
the Good shooting happened. Renee Good. What happened? 9 months ago. Can you expound on that, Sarge?
Let's go with Renee Good first because that's actually more controversial than the other one. Because, like I said, at
Okay.
least as far as a bad
Is
shooting,
it really?
I'm going to keep maintaining because I'm MOG going to act like I didn't say it or something. It was a bad shooting. Mr. Preddy should not have been shot, but it was an
Yeah, that's why it's
unfortunate
criminal.
series of cascading events caused by one person who took away his gun, which they didn't even know he had when they tried to arrest him because it was under
Yes,
his
they
coat.
did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
You couldn't
Okay.
see it. It was
Okay.
under his coat. You only saw it
Okay.
when his
Let's
coat
slow this
came
down.
up.
Sorry.
Let's calm down and let's use some
Yeah,
good
seriously.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wish you get acquainted with facts. I mean, facts are not arguable.
Sorry. Okay, so this is what I meant. It doesn't matter what the sequence of events is. They took the gun away from him, all the way away from him before he was shot. That's what
Yes,
I
I
meant.
agree. Yes.
That's what I meant.
So
Okay.
that for you, there's nothing else to consider.
Yeah, there's nothing
We
else to
agree on
consider.
that. We agree on that. Now there's
Okay. All right.
nothing else for us to consider.
Yeah.
Okay, see what I mean? Talk about closed-minded. That's it right there. You don't even
No,
want to
I
hear
mean he
anything
shouldn't have
else.
been shot. He shouldn't have been
I just
shot.
said
That's
I agree. We're talking about
okay.
some things though are like, tragedies. You read the tragedies of Shakespeare? A bunch of cascading events cause a tragedy. Airline
Yes.
crashes. If one thing didn't occur, the plane wouldn't have crashed. Well, that was the case where you had a very similar thing happening. I
What
mean,
happened to
you
MOT?
just hate police.
But what happened to MOT? What happened to MOT?
But look, let me explain what happened with Freddie. Well, because again, we're not going to argue it was a bad shooting. I'm not arguing that this should not have happened. But they did not know he was armed. You couldn't see his gun. He had a coat over it. The only reason they found out he was armed was in the midst of the struggle when his coat came up and you could see the gun. And one of the agents shouted, "Gun!" In the midst of the melee. There's about 5 or 6 officers struggling with this guy. One agent reached in from outside, reached in, grabbed the gun out of his holster, pulled it safely away from the confrontation. Now, here's what happened. This is what we are not certain about. The gun discharged, either accidentally
Hey,
or
hey, I don't
negligence
care.
from the officer.
I don't care. I don't
It
care. It don't matter.
discharged. I
It
mean,
don't
the gun
matter.
is no longer a threat. You got a law enforcement who's taken away from him. Still, he's not a threat from a gun.
Sarge, it don't
Remember,
matter.
remember,
It don't
one of
matter,
the
man.
agents has already shouted "gun." A gun
Sarge,
goes off. They know all the
Sarge,
ICE agents have
Sarge,
got
it don't
guns,
matter, bro.
including that the subject has
Sarge,
fired his gun.
Sarge. Inside voice, please.
Well, he won't let me finish speaking. He just keeps
Well, he wasn't talking. Just go ahead. He
I'm
wasn't
trying to
talking.
explain the facts of the case. You're just telling me how wrong I
I
am.
know, Sarge, but come on, man. Inside voice, please.
Well, I'm going to try if you let me finish my point.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
I'm saying after the ICE agent took the gun out of the confrontation, it was no longer a threat to anyone. I'm not arguing that anymore. You don't need to bring that up, MOT. But it discharged. For whatever reason, it discharged. Mechanical defect, negligent discharge, I don't know. The gun went off. The agent, just moments before, just seconds before, has said gun. He knows all the ICE agents have got a gun. The gun has gone off. They concluded it was a suspect who shot the gun at one of the ICE agents. So he shoots the suspect. Bad shooting, but understandable.
Man, what?
I don't know. I mean, you just hate people and you don't believe in human nature.
I don't believe in police
It's not
nature of
like
shooting people and getting away with it.
panic. Yeah, law enforcement officers can be subject to panic responses too. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
and your ass should go to jail whenever you shoot somebody
maybe
for no
they should
reason.
fire these agents or the one who shot him.
So you saying that they just should have been reassigned? So they just reassign them? No,
I
you
said
don't get them to
fire him,
go to jail.
discipline him.
No jail time. Okay, so what should the appropriate punishment been then?
All right, they did an investigation. They ruled it was an accidental shooting. Now, you got to remember, the state of Minnesota
What?
wanted to charge him under state law. Now they can do that, but you got to remember, if they do that, he's acting within the scope of his duties as a federal law enforcement officer.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not.
You're
He's
attempting
not.
to make an arrest. You are
He's
acting within the
not.
scope of your duties. What
He's not.
police academy did you go to?
Here we go, man. He wasn't
What
acting
police academy did you go to? What you were
according
told
to his
otherwise?
duties. Okay, so let's go through this.
I don't know what
Okay.
police academy you could have gone to, and you don't believe that. He was
No, he
acting
wasn't.
within the scope of his duty. I'm telling you, he was.
Okay.
And if his
Okay.
defense raises the issue, it
So
will
I'm gonna
have,
ask you a question.
will have
If
to
that's
be
true,
prosecuted in federal court.
okay, if that's true, what federal property were they on, and who were they looking for in
They were
that crowd?
enforcing federal law in 50
Sir,
states of the union. They could do it.
no.
What?
I'm asking a very
God
specific
Almighty,
question.
where did you get your law enforcement education?
I'm asking a very simple question.
I just told you they can enforce
What?
immigration law in every state and territory of the union.
Okay,
There
how
are
did they
no
end up?
exceptions to that rule.
Okay, how did they end up with their hands on a white dude?
Oh, for God's sake, I can't believe you asked me that.
Yeah. It's just,
Because he's interfering with their arrest. And white people are illegal aliens too.
who are they there to arrest?
A person obstructing their efforts.
That's
That is
not
a
true.
crime too. It's
Those people were
in
there.
their authority as federal law enforcement. Have you read the authorization that gives them their law enforcement powers? I have.
Yeah. So
It's
let's go
all that is
through.
covered there.
Okay, are you actually in control of knowing what the events were before he even got that close
Yes, because I've
to what was
watched
going
the
on?
video 10 times at least.
Okay. So let's go there. So when the law enforcement person pushed to the ground a woman who was protesting, that is why he went there to go help that woman.
Oh, he's got a right
And
to do
when he,
that, does he?
yes, he does.
Under what law does he have the right to obstruct an officer effecting an arrest? I
Okay,
want you to give me
I'm
chapter
gonna say
and
this
verse.
again. I'm gonna say this again.
I know you feel
The
you got some
reason,
kind of made up
the
right, but what is
reason,
the right
the
on the
reason
books?
why Pretty.
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Okay, what is the right
Okay,
on the books?
okay. So the actual federal people pushed a woman to the ground. That's why Pretty went up there to help her up. So the actual, and she was doing nothing but peacefully protesting, by the way. They engaged contact onto her. They wasn't there for her. They didn't like the fact that she was protesting them. So the federal people pushed her to the ground. That's when Pretty went up to help her up. And because he tried to help her up, that's why they tried to go in for an arrest. So the whole situation is illegal because they're not on federal property. They're not actually serving a warrant. They're not actually looking for a person. They're just surrounded by personnel who are protesting. So you just move the actual conflict to somewhere else. Get in your car and leave. That's what you're
I mean,
supposed to do.
where are you getting this? You got to be on federal property. Where are you getting
Yes,
that legal theory
sir.
from?
Okay.
Wait,
What
no,
is the
they're
name of
not
this department?
military police.
Okay. What is the name of the
They're not
department?
military police. They are civilian law
What is
enforcement
the
agencies.
name of the
They are
department?
civilians. ICE are
Okay.
civilians. They're not
Okay.
military police.
Okay.
They're not
So
restricted to federal property.
okay, but when you're taking
You
care of
just said
federal
they
business,
were.
you're looking you're actually looking for a very specific person in a very specific
So
circumstance.
you
That's
can
what
only
your
arrest
orders
them on
have.
federal property?
That's not what I said.
It's not, okay. Oh, God. I
Okay, you
understand
have
now.
orders.
Objective
You
clause
have
and
orders,
subjective clause. I
sir.
heard what you said.
You have orders, and you're supposed to be acquitting federal stuff.
So you can only
Coming in
arrest people on
contact.
federal property for immigration.
Coming in contact with somebody who is protesting is not part of your federal duties.
Oh, for
It's
God's
not.
sake, sir.
It's not part of your federal duties. It just
Arrested
isn't.
and charged with obstructing a federal law
No,
enforcement officer.
no,
She was
no, no,
arrested and
no.
charged with it. She's going to go to court, or she has gone to court for that offense. Now, don't ask me what the outcome of it was. She was booked by a federal magistrate for that offense, whether you
Hmm.
think she should have been or not. That's
She
what
shouldn't have been.
courts are for. That's what I keep stressing to you. That's what courts are for. It's not up to George Preddy to
They
decide what they
engaged.
should or shouldn't be doing.
They
And then
they
to
came
tell
in
me not to
contact with
trust
her.
them.
They came in contact with her though.
All right, let me tell you another thing.
Yeah.
Jay, you're familiar with this, what happened with me, right? When I had to bust that dude upside the head with a napkin holder and I got arrested. Remember I told you about that?
Hey man, we're gonna talk about this
Wait
Pretty
a minute, wait a minute,
situation, bro.
wait a minute. This is because you just brought it up. All right,
Yes,
remember,
sir. We're gonna talk about this Pretty
remember when I
situation.
got arrested here in Georgia for busting that dude upside the head when he said
Yeah.
I looked at his woman and
Dude,
all
what
that
are you
shit?
talking about, man? Dude,
Okay.
this is about the Pretty
Okay.
situation, man.
Okay. What happened
Okay,
was
yeah,
sorry.
Jay, he
Go
didn't have
ahead.
no right to arrest me because I didn't violate a law. I was in accordance with the law of self-defense in the state of Georgia. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. But he arrested me. Do you think I was
We're
going to fight
talking
him over
about
it?
the
Wait a
Pretty
minute. You think
situation,
I
bro.
was going to fight the cop there over it? Hey, man, you ain't got no business arresting me. I didn't do nothing wrong. I just let
Sarge,
him
we're
put me in
talking about the
handcuffs
Pretty
and he took
situation.
me to jail.
Dude,
I
back to the
didn't fight
Pretty
him because I
situation though,
thought he was
man.
wrong.
Back to the Pretty situation.
Yeah, well, you seem to think you got a right to decide what the law is and you can obstruct the police.
That's not what I said.
That is
Back
what
to
you
the
said.
Prady
You just don't want to admit you did.
situation. Yeah, back to the Prady situation though. They initiated contact on her and pushed her to the ground because she was protesting
She was
them.
not following their instructions. They told her where she could stand and watch. That police officer can do that to you. They can give you a reasonable space in which to observe and protest, and you're supposed to comply with that instruction. If they tell you you're in the street protesting, we're interfering with the operation here, you can stand on the sidewalk and watch, but you got to get over there. And if you don't obey it, they will arrest you for obstruction. That's what she didn't do.
They came in contact with her for no reason.
See, well, that's what you say. That's what the court should decide, not you, and not
Okay.
George Preddy.
The video showed that she was protesting and they pushed her to the ground.
I saw what the video saw. You're leaving out a lot of
Okay. No, I'm talking
Okay,
about
but
You're
what's
leaving out your
important.
instructions to
but
her
hold
to
on,
not stand so close to them.
but Sarge, what about the scene of the shooting, the Preddy shooting, from the person who was inside the vehicle that happened in front of him? I mean,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Well, Preddy didn't shoot anything. That cop who took it away from him did.
right. I'm talking about him assisting the lady who was being
Yeah.
accosted.
Pushed to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, pushed to the ground and everything. I mean, if you
In
see
the opinion of the agents, his assistance to the lady amounted to obstruction. That's what courts are for, to determine.
You initiated contact. You initiated contact.
how's that obstruction when they approach her, not her?
Yes. Say it again.
They approached her because she did not obey their instructions to stand in a specific area and observe their actions.
Well, she's on
They
the
thought
side of
she
the
was too
street.
close to them and that she might interfere with them.
She's on the side of the street.
No, she went. They were telling her to go over there and she didn't go. She kept coming back.
Okay, if that was the case, then why was the people who was in the car wasn't arrested either? I'm demanding. Okay, sorry. But what? Okay, but there was somebody inside that car when all the how come they wasn't arrested? Because they was close to all that.
Well, wait a minute. Well, they probably were so wrapped up with her, they didn't give any commands to the other ones. That's the way it is a lot of times. You're focusing on one person, and you got other people who might be charged and or given a command, but you're distracted by the one you're dealing with right in front of you. I've been in a lot of demonstrations where that's happened. A whole lot of them in Illinois. Illinois is a hotbed for demonstrations, especially in Chicago.
No, it's fine. It's like if they didn't come in contact with her, Prady wouldn't have stepped up to help her up from the ground.
Where he had no right to interfere with them or make them think he was interfering with them.
Oh, God. Why did they come in contact with the
I don't care
civilian?
how noble a knight he thinks he is. That's what the courts are for. He's not a white knight.
Okay,
Well,
so
all
right.
When 4 or 5 people is accosting and pushing down somebody down, it would render your right as a citizen to
some type of response.
Yeah.
You know what? It was. We got to remember, guys. It was.
You're not taking care of. You're not taking care of federal business at the time, man.
Hey, MOT. It was Minnesota. The dummy should have realized that most people in Minnesota might have gone along with him in a jury trial. They probably would have acquitted him.
Okay.
But people.
So
a woman. Wait, hold on.
What is happening?
Hold on. But sorry. Wait a minute. I can't let you slide on that. That's
what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah. You see a woman being pounced upon by five men,
dudes with guns. Crazy talk.
You know what was about to happen.
Women are exempt from being arrested. What kind of sexist?
No, I'm not saying women are exempt from being arrested. When you see 5 men who are armed and they all jumping on one woman, I ain't trying to be no blue pill simp, but that doesn't even look right.
It don't look right, bro.
Let me understand
optics are crazy.
I want to get your position clear. I don't want to misstate it. Your objection is the number of officers arresting her rather
That's
than
a little woman. That's a little woman. You know, and besides, she wasn't carrying anything. Only she was carrying
Armed
was her
people.
phone.
Armed
And,
people.
yeah,
You
armed people.
can't shoot them. You just said you can't. What the fuck's the difference? If they got a machine gun, they can't use it.
Like Sarge, dude. At the end
What
of the
else is
day,
it whether
if they
armed or not?
wouldn't,
The
if they
woman
wouldn't
was
have pushed the
carrying.
woman to the ground, Brady wouldn't have stepped up to try to help her up.
Well,
Dude,
that's
people
on
have the
him.
right to protest, man. They
He's
just
willing to
do.
accept the consequences for it. God bless you, sir.
Okay, so all right, so the gun is removed from him, and whatever went off, I don't care about any of that.
It did
You
go off.
reacted,
No doubt about that.
you reacted improperly to something that happened.
Okay,
Okay,
right, right.
okay.
Okay.
So that was to me
So we should
makes
hang him.
it.
Hang him for the highest yard arm.
I mean, he has
Okay.
to go.
See, I agree
He,
with you on all of that stuff. See where we got agreement real easy?
yeah, okay,
We
all
can
right,
agree to disagree on matters of fact, but in matters of fact, we ought to agree on. And everything you
okay,
just said was factually true. I agree with all of it.
okay. So they were out to acquit federal business. Pushing that woman to the ground was not part of federal business.
They were going to arrest her. You put people on the ground when they resist.
They initiated contact with her.
No, she initiated contact with him. That's why they were after her. You're wrong.
Okay, all right.
Like you couldn't take one man to subdue
That's
one
what I'm
woman.
saying.
It takes
Come on.
one man. It takes one strong man to subdue one little ass 130-pound woman.
So it sounds to me like your objection is aesthetic, not legal.
No, okay. The woman is what 120 to 145 pounds, right? That's a little woman. You mean that man? You mean you take five to take on one woman and knock her on the ground and do all that? All you got to do is grab her and slap some handcuffs on her.
Just stuff her in the car out of there.
Jay,
It's not hard grabbing a woman.
Remember what I just told you. Now, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm telling you just straight up, and this is why I'm telling you why sometimes you do need 2 or 3, even for a little woman. I can bench press over 400 pounds for reps.
Here we go again.
500.
Man.
I could deadlift 600, and little 110, 115 pound women, wiry and shit, are one hell of a hard thing to put down by yourself. I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I said I'd use a lot more force than I would have had to use if I had added another or maybe 3 officers to help me. Sometimes having that many officers means you don't use as much total force on an individual as if you are one having to do it.
Okay, so the gun is removed from Preddy, and he is shot multiple times by people for no reason. They should all be in prison, out of here, gone.
Well, that didn't happen. So I guess you got to
Okay.
write to Congress.
And then when he said when they say gun, you know where Preddy's hands was at. You don't see those guns nowhere near his hands.
I agree with you.
Jay.
I'm not arguing it was a bad shooting.
Whoever yelled it, whoever shot, they all got to go to prison.
Oh, stop it.
Forever.
How can you say a guy who
Forever.
didn't shoot him should go to prison? He's just trying to wrestle him and get him into custody. He didn't shoot him. You want them all to go. See, you just.
I am just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. At the end of the day, man, if you reacted improperly, you didn't check what was going on. You just acted without. If you acted without restriction. If you acted without restriction, you just got to go to jail. It's easy.
He was being arrested. The other officers were assisting. He was a man. He wasn't a 110-pound woman. He was in good. Of what I understand, he exercised.
And they shot him. And they shot him.
This
is over with, Sarge.
But Sarge, his hands was up when he got shot.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
His hands was up when he got shot.
It's a bad shooting. The gun went off.
You still got to go to jail.
Like I agree with it or something.
His hands was up when they reeled him with bullets.
See, you keep saying things I agree with.
Sorry. They got to go to jail, bro. I'm sorry, man. You got to go.
They all got to go to jail. They're all in the execution.
Yes.
That's 12. That's 12. What? 12 shots? Man,
yes.
Got 12
Come on, man.
They got really with bullets. what
Dude,
I'm
who are we
saying.
talking about, bro? You gotta go.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what you're going to
And
have to do
send a
now.
pass.
Since none of those agents were charged at either the federal or state level, you're
Not
going to have
yet.
to go to
Not
your.
yet.
You know,
Not yet.
I couldn't get no action on Michael Byrd murdering Ashley Babbitt. I wrote. You don't know how many letters I wrote to Congress saying that was a straight
Dude,
up murder.
Ashley
And
Babbitt
then
was breaking into the Capitol, bro.
I'm
What
making
is going on here?
a point that they didn't pay me.
Ashley
They didn't
Babbitt
pay me
was
any.
breaking into the Capitol.
Initial finding did not find Michael Byrd guilty, whether I want him to be guilty or not. Same thing
Okay.
goes for you.
Okay, so you're this right wing guy who think that Ashley
those,
Babbitt shouldn't be shot
those are
now.
two
Okay.
complete different things, though.
That's what I'm
Those are
saying.
complete
That's what I'm
different
It's
saying,
the
bro.
same thing with regard to getting them prosecuted. You
Dude,
have to find
she got
somebody willing to do
she
it.
got shot
Sarge,
because she was breaking into a place. Come on, man. What is happening here?
Man, I don't want to argue Ashley Babbitt. The only
Okay,
reason
okay. You brought it up.
the only reason I brought her up was to say we can't always get what
I
we
would
want.
never bring up Ashley Babbitt, bro.
Remember the Beatles song? You can't always get what you want.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Ashley Babbitt. See, you can't use Ashley Babbitt because Ashley
No,
Babbitt
you can't.
was the one. Because
I didn't say it was the same. I didn't say it was the same.
Wait, hold on.
I said I want Michael Byrd to be prosecuted, and I can't get him prosecuted. No matter how much I want him to be prosecuted.
Why would he be prosecuted, dude?
Why you want him to be
Because he murdered a woman and didn't even give a warning.
Oh my God!
You're breaking.
Wait, stop! I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. You're part of a mob.
Yes.
You're trying to
breaking and entering. Advancing.
Making threats, talking about hang Mike Pence, hanging the sitting vice president of the United States. You don't need a warning when you get shot. Doing all that.
Oh boy!
You don't need a warning at this point.
She was breaking into a place, and they kept telling her to stop, and then they got her in.
So I guess now we're going to discuss the Ashley Babbitt case. Now,
no. We're not discussing
words here. Okay,
we're not discussing the Babbitt case because.
All right, let's discuss it. Let's discuss it. Okay.
No.
Go ahead and make your case. Go ahead and make. Since you're going to force me to discuss it.
There's nothing to talk about there. I mean, that's
our case. I just want to say either of us can't get what we want. We want somebody prosecuted. Apparently, is not going to be.
Okay.
That's the point I was trying to make. Not anything else. Not anything else.
Come on, man. Let's go back to the Preddy situation, man.
You can't equate Alex Preddy to Ashley.
Babbitt, bro. Nah, man.
No, you guys want, or at least MOT wants those agents to be prosecuted. I want Michael Byrd to be prosecuted. Neither of us appear to be able to get what we want.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's like another non sequitur. Another conversation derailment. Okay, let's go to the.
We can go deal with that in another topic. Okay.
No, we won't, man. This is a one-time thing, man.
I am prepared to argue that too, because that was the case I was arguing with people about for 5 months at least.
No.
So I know it very well. I'm prepared to deal with it. I just don't think it's necessary. I was just bringing up to say we can't always get what we want.
Sarge, we're gonna go to the next case though. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're gonna go to this Renee Good situation.
If you want to deal with Ashley Babbitt, I'll be more than happy to.
I bet you would. But I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do that though.
I will.
No, man. We're good. This is a one-time thing, Sarge. No, this is a one-time thing, man.
I told you, I studied it to death. I'm prepared to deal with anybody. Bring a lawyer up here. I'll deal with him too.
What is there to study, Sarge?
That's what I'm saying.
Here's what they are to study: the rules of force for Capitol Police officers, the circumstances of Ashley Babbitt entering through that window frame. Not a mob, one person. A mob didn't come through the window frame. One person did. He was behind a barricade. When he shot her, he was safely ensconced behind a barricade. She had nothing in her hands when she came through she never even got through the window. She had her hands. She had her hands on the side of the window frame when he put a bullet in her neck.
Sarge, hold on.
She never made it through.
Sorry, she is armed.
No shit.
She is armed. Hey,
What?
you
What
know,
you said he made it through, MOT. She made it through. You said
wait,
she
wait,
made
hold
it
on.
through. She didn't.
Hold on, but sorry.
This
She
is
is
anything that I'm
armed.
gonna argue with you. Yeah.
Hold on, but sorry.
Well, see,
But
you
she
should know
is
the fact.
armed. Sorry, but she is armed. She might not have no weapons in her hand or on her person, but she was armed.
Okay, well, wouldn't you think he would at
And,
least wait?
and you know what
Remember, we
that
talked about
arm the
he was
army
further
was?
away. He was about 10 yards away from her. That's
She
further
got
away
thousands
from
of
her
people
was
behind
if
her.
he wasn't charging
She
him.
had thousands of
Dude,
people behind her.
bro.
Sorry.
She was the
Apparently you
only
didn't look at the
one
video.
who made an
Sorry.
attempt to get
Sorry.
through the window frame. There
Yeah,
was
man.
a
You
SWAT
didn't
team.
look at the video,
There
man.
was a SWAT
Sorry.
team right behind her.
Sarge.
There was a Capitol Police SWAT
Sarge.
team
You entertain
immediately
Sarge.
behind her.
Hey,
They
hey,
gave
hey,
her
hey,
first
Sarge,
aid.
calm down, Sarge. Calm down, Sarge. Calm down. Sarge. Sarge. She's trying to climb into a window of a barricade area when there's other people pushing
Man.
against the barricade.
Yes.
What you think? What you think is going to happen, Sarge? The other people going to know it. If she passed through that window, what you think the other people going to do? They're going to get through the same place where she entered in.
Okay.
In
Now,
a barricade area. So she was doing the same objective as the other people was doing, trying to stop the electoral process of electing a president and hanging a sitting vice president.
death penalty. All right, now let me ask you a question. Did you see the interview that Michael Bird had with 60 Minutes?
No, I have not. So.
I did. And you know when what's his name? Bernard Shaw asked him, about the circumstance in which he shot Ashley Babbitt, this is what he said. He himself said in a friendly interview with 60 Minutes that when she came to the window, he couldn't see that she had anything in her hands.
It didn't matter, bro.
It didn't matter at that point.
It doesn't matter at that point, man.
You talk about the little woman with the ICE agents. Well, she's 5'4" and 105 pounds.
It didn't matter, Sarge, because
She wasn't in the commission of a crime.
She had 1,000 people behind her trying to do the same thing.
They weren't trying to come through. There was a SWAT team blocking them.
They was pushing against
the SWAT team
barricade.
Bro.
The SWAT team was keeping them from coming through. Go look at the tape where she shot. You will see black-clad people with AR-15s and helmets and body armor.
Okay,
they're right there with her.
Like Sarge, we can't do the Ashley Babbitt thing because that makes you look crazy.
I know, but you're gonna lose for sure on this one.
Nah, I won't. All
right,
so let's go to the.
I'm gonna make the best case.
The Ashley Babbitt shooting is totally different than what happened to
Way
Renee
different.
Good
and
Freddie.
I agree with that. It is different. In circumstance, yes, it's different, but in legal justification, it is at least the same.
No, it isn't.
Now, Renee Good was absolutely that officer.
Nah, we good, man.
That officer that she struck with
Big J, man, let it go.
That ICE agent that she struck with her Honda Pilot had to go to the hospital and be treated for internal bleeding.
Dude, that's obviously a fake report, man.
Okay, you know what I mean? You know what I mean with this guy?
Bro.
And you just fake. Hey, you want to talk about Barack Obama's birth certificate?
Bro.
We're not going there.
The cop, nah, man. We good, man.
Now you just go claim.
No, we good, man.
Medical report issued by a hospital is a lie.
It is. That one was.
Touch on that, Charles. You're not trying to touch on that.
All right, I think he's trolling me now. But look, I'm just saying this though, man. Look, he was struck by the Honda Pilot. It is clear as a bell, and that she continued to try to drive her car with the spinning wheels. Because remember, she accelerated that thing hard enough that Honda Pilot.
She's trying to get out of there. She's trying to get out of there.
Automatic traction control. She's hitting the wheels fast enough to make that wheel spin on ice.
But Sarge,
man,
wasn't she told to leave? Wasn't she told to
No,
leave?
she was told to get out of the car. She was under arrest.
No, before that. Was she
Yeah,
told
before that they told her to
Right.
leave and she didn't.
Right. So
Man.
you got 4 or 5 officers telling her to leave at the same time the guy who did shot her was telling her to get out the car.
Oh no, you're wrong.
No.
Not true.
Have you watched the angle of
No, that didn't happen. No. They told her to leave before they made the decision to arrest her when she was just harassing him. They didn't want her around him. They told her to leave. She came back after that. After that, they told her to get, as they approached the car, you could hear them saying, "Get out of the car." Because they were going to arrest her. She didn't get out of the car. Her little lover friend told her to drive, baby, drive. Evade
man,
the
she's trying
police.
to get out of there, man.
Elude, escape, break the law again by fleeing law enforcement.
Okay. All right, man. So it looked like this is over with.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna tell you right now, you ain't gonna get me on matters of fact. You're not gonna get me on matters of fact.
man, look. Yeah,
I'm
me
tired.
too, man.
I'm actually exhausted at this point. I'm actually
Yeah, for
exhausted.
real, man.
Because every time you guys bring up a matter of fact, you're either mistaken or you've been misinformed.
Okay.
What? Okay.
All you gotta do is go watch the video. Go watch the whole video when the officers approach Renee Good's Honda Pilot. You can see it all for yourself.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So she shouldn't be dead either. All right.
Yeah,
And that dude's going to jail for that.
But you know what?
So
Yeah, she wouldn't be dead. She'd have been arrested. And the Minnesota people would have let her out. She was in Minnesota. I don't know why these people ain't afraid to take the chance with the court in Minnesota. They're all going to let her go. They all want ICE to go away. They don't want to cooperate with ICE.
they definitely wasn't in ICE. ICE definitely wasn't in El Paso
in
where I was.
Minnesota, they are inclined to acquit if ICE charges them.
No.
But Sarge, but here's the thing, Sarge. You didn't take into account that it's snowy and it's ice on the street. So for you to sit there and make the claim that she purposely ran him over, tried to run him over when the wheels was cut.
Tried to hit that dude.
The wheels was cut towards the passenger side, and the car slid towards him. So Sarge, you can't sit there and fault her for trying to run him over.
It literally
the wheels was cut towards the right side.
But wait a minute, it literally
away from him. I'm not
He's having no obligation to move out of the way of a felon.
Massage.
I got to drive past Chicago today, man. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I only got like a couple more minutes before I got to get back to work or whatever, man. But
hey, man, I ain't through with you yet. I want to finish this battery of topics. I ain't through with you yet. I want to finish this battery of topics, man. Well, I'm going to confront you on every one of them if you're ready.
No, you lost on all of them.
Oh, yeah, you can tell yourself that all you want. I ain't even going to bother to say nothing. I'm going to just let people listen to this. I ain't going to say nothing.
Like you lost on everything so far, man. Like you didn't win anything.
Make up their own mind. I ain't going to say a word. Hey, y'all just listen to yourselves and you decide who I got the better of it. That's all. I ain't gonna say I want that. I ain't gonna bother. It don't make no sense. All I want is this. I want to get you for the rest of the rounds of this thing.
That's it. I mean, dude, like the topic's over with.
No, we ain't going to the woke 2.0 yet.
Okay, hopefully next time it'll be structured because I know StreamYards are fucking up. So when StreamYards are fucking up, I said, "Fuck it, this is good and have at it." I ain't gonna try to do all that time.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Messing up.
Hey, man, it was good. Look, it was all good. Jay, you're a good sport. You did a good job. Considering that you didn't structure it, it's still okay. I got no complaints.
No, it was structured, man. It was structured all it could be.
No, I wrote down a structured list for Jay, didn't I, Jay? Didn't I get something?
Yeah. But it
we didn't exactly do it that way.
Yeah. It wasn't structured. It sounded structured, but I just allowed y'all to talk because.
Yeah, so we didn't do it the way I suggested.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I ain't got no complaints. I thought both of us got out our points and the points we wanted
Yeah.
to make, and that's fine with me. I need
And
clarity, not agreement. I don't need agreement. Never do. Never have.
okay, so
So it's good.
let me reiterate. If you're in law enforcement and if you have training, if you use that training in a bad method, it is indeed criminal. And I want you locked up in every single case that is possible to lock you up in. Because
And
that is my actual training, is that the police are held to a higher account. And I don't want to hear this, oh, I'm afraid for my life bullshit. Nah, dude, you got to go to jail, man.
all right,
That's what it
I
is.
would appreciate it though if you would distinguish incompetence from criminality. You seem to have a
No,
difficulty in
no,
making that
no,
distinction.
no, 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 no.
Incompetence
It's
does not mean you've committed a criminal act.
to me, it's a criminal act every
Well, that's
time.
to
It
you. See,
shouldn't happen.
you got your own standard of justice, which does not comport with the actual one that exists.
Yeah.
And that's the
To
problem.
me,
Because I got mine too, but I know the world doesn't accept Sarge's standard of justice. I got to go by the one that is. You should see my
okay,
standard of justice. You wouldn't like it one bit. So I don't pretend it is the standard of justice.
okay.
Well,
Now, these
well,
people, they still got to go to jail, though, in all these cases. Our country would be better off if the police can stop walking around with Iron Man uniforms on and then pretending like they so scared of everybody. Like, hey, man, go get yourself another job, bro.
So wait a minute, you would
That's
deprive
it.
police of body armor too?
Yeah, I would.
Hundreds of police officers' lives have probably been saved by body armor. That makes no difference to you. You
yeah,
just
no
There
think
would have been a
difference.
lot
No
more
difference.
lives
you
saved
just
by
think
the actual police
you want the
speaking up
criminals to be able to
about
the
these.
officers more easily. That's your
Like,
idea of
no, no,
justice. That's your
no,
idea
no,
of
no.
law enforcement.
Let me explain why. When it comes to these weapons of war being on the streets, the police stay pretty silent about allowing these people to have these weapons, which means they shouldn't get no protection from those weapons. That is when you're supposed to speak up. Like when the assault rifles ban was actually being lifted, those police officers all over the country said nothing about those weapons of war coming back on the street. They have no practical civilian application, so they should have no actual protection from it.
Wait a minute.
None.
Wait a minute. The AR-15 is used successfully in many police circumstances, so it clearly has a
It
police
wasn't
application.
used during the ban, sir.
What?
That's why it was banned. Okay?
Well, I didn't like that either.
That weapon
I,
doesn't
I, I, I,
have
used to,
any
I used to
practical
write to
civilian
police
application.
agencies and say, look, if you guys are going to ban AR-15s for civilians, you ought to ban them for yourselves. But I was not per se against police officers having AR-15s. It's a fine patrol rifle.
Right. So
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying
We just don't
is
have to disagree on this one, baby.
no. I mean, dude, like rifle, handguns work fine. The thing is that you don't need weapons like that out on the streets that has no practical civilian
Is
application.
AR-15 a weapon of war?
Yes,
Well, why doesn't any army in the world use it?
I think you're missing the point here.
I know I'm not missing the point. It's literally not a weapon
As
of war.
as a
No armed
product,
forces in the world use it.
as a product, if you shoot that thing inside of a condo, that thing is going through multiple
That's not true.
walls.
You don't know about the ballistics of the
What
5.56 NATO
on
round.
earth are you
Apparently, you
talking
are
about?
apparently believing myths.
It's not. It's not. It's
Man,
not a. It's not a. It's not a self defense round. It's not a self
It is.
defense
It is.
weapon.
It is.
Not
man.
not not
You
not
got
but
to
not
go around.
inside the house.
It
It's
is
not
definitely a. Come on,
a
man.
14 and 12 gauge shotgun. A 12 gauge
No,
and 12 inch shotgun
no, no.
is more is self defense.
Look, the police have to do offensive shooting too. And remember, the shotgun and a 9mm was utterly inadequate in the West Hollywood shootout.
I understand about the
That
West Hollywood.
shootout.
Inadequate.
That shootout.
Wait a minute.
Those people.
Okay. Are we talking about the armored truck shooting?
Yes.
No,
Robbery.
the
Yes.
the Bank of
No, no,
America
no.
robbery. The Bank of America
Yeah.
robbery.
Right.
When
Okay.
when two dudes came there with Iron Man uniforms on, people
That's
had
what I'm
pretty
saying.
much feet
I
shooters
mean, they
against
were
them.
rigged out, baby.
But
I mean,
you know
they had 100-round drums. They had HK3s, G3s. They had AR-15s modified for select fire. They had AKMs. with 100 round, 50, 65, 75 round
I was
drums.
proud of how
What's
stupid they
that?
was to think they was just gonna get away with that. Like, dude, at
I
some
don't
point they was
know,
gonna up, dude. At some point they was gonna
man. They were
start,
bodybuilding and doing steroids and shit. They were fucking nuts. There was
man.
roid rage was a great deal of it too. They were crazy.
Where did you think you was gonna spend that money after that was over with? Like, okay, you just gonna change clothes and go to the
Hey
Gap?
man, they made a bunch of successful
Come on,
robberies before. They were successful in
man.
about 975 grand worth of robberies before the Bank of America. So
Yeah,
they
but
were
they didn't
doing
come
pretty
out
good.
there that, but they didn't come out there that upfrontly stupid about it though.
No, no, yes they did. They would take over robberies. They'd shoot burst around through the ceiling and take over the bank. That was their MO.
Yeah, but that's, dude, that's what. Anyway, Big J, hey man, thanks for having me on,
And
man.
remember, I
Right,
do my
right.
homework, brother. You got to realize there ain't nothing I don't talk about. I ain't done a hell of a lot of homework on.
All right, then. I'm gonna get off of here. Sorry, because I gotta go to the lottery. I gotta pay the lottery ticket.
All right, well, look, Jay, I appreciate this thing you done. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I
Uh,
appreciate doing it. If you want to do it, I remain at your service, sir, be honored to grace your show with my presence, particularly taking on this dude if he wants to come back again after he heals his bruises.
okay, we'll touch. We'll get in touch again about this.
Cool.
So
It's all good, man.
yeah,
Well,
I'm really exhausted though
I'm
after
gonna tell you what,
these
man.
3 hours.
Hold on, keep the show up because I'm gonna buy you a few cups of coffee.
Okay.
I'm gonna buy a few
All right.
cups of coffee, man, because you deserve it. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm a little difficult and all that shit. I get it, but you know.
All right then.
But
Yeah.
hey, man, it just comes from being emphatic. I am emphatic in what I believe.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean, I think things through, whether you agree with me or not.
all right then. I'm gonna get on going though, Sarge, because I gotta jump in this car and go to town real quick. And I forgot to pick up my lottery ticket. I just feel the need to play lottery right now. I don't got this knocking to do it right now. But anyway, but thank you for coming by, Sarge. So we'll talk. I'll
Man,
talk
no
to you.
problem. Like I said, I enjoyed it immensely. And look here, man, you take care, have a good night's sleep. And same for you, MOT. Get some rest, do a little bit more studying, be better prepared, and I'll deal with you next time.
All right then. I'll see y'all later. I'm out.
Take care.
All right then. Bye bye.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.